Greetings, blessings, salutations, and love. Once again, welcome back to Chats with Jack. I am Jack Talcott, here for another stream, another episode, another broadcast, another gathering, another uh, documented evidence of our life. Blessings to you. What's up, Cynthia? Hard hat already. There's other stream coming through. I know I broke the pattern. I broke the pattern of me. I did suggest the last time I streamed that I might take a couple of days off, and then I took one. And then today, the day got away from me, and I scheduled for a time different, and then I started in a different time than I scheduled. So praise God. Blessings sincerely to all of you, Celia, Snowfire. And you know what? I got inspired. The topic today, what is possible or not? The topic was admittedly inspired by the thumbnail, and I did not set any of this up. Here we go. The Audrey Hepburn quote, "Nothing is impossible. The word itself says I'm possible." And you know, when I was considering those words, I was like, you know, that is so true. This word impossible, this word can't, all these limiting vocabularies, you know, that's what holds us back. So, what I encourage sincerely, think beyond possible to discover the unimagined. Just makes sense that that's where the unimagined would be found, beyond that which is presumed possible. Because what I have been learning for myself sincerely, life is far more. Life is far more than we may have known. And it's all okay what we don't know. I mean, it's no one's fault we don't know things, but it is our fault when we perpetuate our ignorance. There's no one to blame but ourselves when we deny ourselves opportunities to learn, opportunities to understand, when we deny ourselves things because we think it's impossible. No, it's impossible that happened. I can never understand that. Those are the words that will carry on some trauma for a long time. You convince yourself things are not possible in this world, you're likely to be shown that you're wrong. Because if you really stop and think about it, Big Bang Theory or God, whatever, it is from nothing that everything has come. That is not possible in the realm of physics and things that we know. It's not possible to create something from nothing, and yet every day we observe it. From nothing comes these thoughts, these ideas, and these ideas can become us, right? We can become consumed by ideas. And those ideas, where do they come from? Right? Everything comes from nothing. And in the end, what matters? Sincerely, what matters? Not in a negative, oh, nothing matters, but in a logical, objective state. What matters? In what context, of course, that would matter. Well, let's just generally, what matters beyond right now? Does any time beyond right now have any significance whatsoever? I mean, really, the past isn't, it's done. The future isn't, it's not here. It's only right now. And now is always present. But are we? Are we present in our mind? That's what I've been figuring out. Brothers and sisters, I love you all. Whoever you are tuning in now or later, it's easy for me to love you. Big or small, male, female, whatever. It's easy to love when you forget reasons not to. And what is not to love if all that matters is right now? So whoever is with me right now, or if I'm with you at another now, you are what matters. And thank you. Thank you for sharing your precious time, precious energy, your attention. Man, you know how many people, how many organizations, and how many things are seeking your attention? How many people might be seeking your attention right now? Maybe it's just a break for you right now, but the attention, learning how to focus our mind's eye, learning how to focus our mind and our attention. It is so beneficial. How about that? There's a lot of benefit to learning how to focus your mind, learning how to bring singularity of focus, right? To really bring clarity to whatever it is that you're wanting to create in your mind or imagine, whatever it is that you're feeling. It's important to learn how to direct our minds and not allow our minds to direct us. There's a combination of powers and forces that's within us and around us. And this game of life that we get to play around in, holy cows, man. Praise God. Good game creator, man. This source of life and love and light. Man, I do humble myself. I humble myself before the creator. And I am, man. It's challenging for me to admit in this perspective, my life goal and ambition to be taken seriously, right? And um I want to bring some influence to a lot of others in this world. Here you go. Here's the paradox that's overcoming. Where I was going to get at is I'm humble. I'm like a child. I honestly, I'm seeking God's guidance. Where do I turn? What do I do next? Well, following those paths brought me to this today, not just taking a couple of days off, but the idea of taking Wednesdays off did appeal to me. Boy, I totally interrupted that stream of consciousness, didn't I? Hey, for those who may wish to join, blessings to all of you. Anyone who wants to join is welcome to. I'm not feeling any urgency, but I also do know that others bring a different energy and pattern and a different dynamic to the conversation. So any who would like to are welcome to join. What I was offering there, though, the paradox is, yes, I see myself as a man. I understand leadership. I've played small roles, varying degrees. I understand the principles and the values because I've studied from others, and I've learned. But when it comes down to life, um, humility, sincerely, humility is truly where life is at. The devil may tempt us with growth in all of these other areas, wealth and fame and notoriety, but you know what? Humility, not a chance, man. Why is that? Because when we're humble, we see the world in a different way than if we're all empowered and think we're in control. One who is humble is going to see different perspectives and receive different understandings. And it's when I say humble, I don't mean timid. I don't mean fearful. I mean just humble. As one who has never experienced this time, never experienced this interaction, never experienced this day before. um, I've grown, I think my role, I learned humility pretty early. It was confidence that I really had to grow into as a young adult, and then as an adult. There's a benefit in both, right? There's a time to be gentle, and then there's a time to be strong. And sometimes a gentle strength is just what the situation requires. That, in my mind, is what maybe the force of God is. It is it is a good, strong, powerful, subtle force that brings nature forward into its perfect order. I don't know. There's I use the word God a lot these days, and I realize that. And there are people who just do not want to even consider that word because of what the past has taught them. I understand that. The creator, the source, the universal laws of nature that bring us forth. There's an eternal order and a perfection to the process. But here's what the world has taught us. Well, the world has taught us a lot. The world has taught us to become who we are, who we have been. And what I'm encouraging you, brothers and sisters, is to go within yourself, choose, make a little bit of time today. If you haven't done it in a while, do it again. Sit silently, okay, with the intention of, I'm going to get some answers. Knowing all of the answers are within. Bringing forth the ideas, the thoughts, the feelings, get them out. Write them on paper. And visualize, see what your body, your actions are bringing forth for you to see. See what's within yourself. And discover. Here's the point. Here's the purpose. The point of spending time going alone, going within, drawing out inner feelings, inner thoughts, inner ideas. The purpose is to discover who you're here to become. We only know who we've been. We only know who others have been or have become. We don't know what may come forth from any of us. And you know what? These simple practices, swear to God, I never thought to do things like this. And it's just the most basic practices that some of the other coaches I've worked with have said, hey, get this shit out, right? Figure out what's within you, what's coming forth, What does your spirit want you to know? What does your spirit want you to discover? What does your spirit want you to learn? What does your spirit want you to become? We never know really unless we ask. And I swear the key to life, the key to well, there's numbers of keys to life. Duh. One of the many keys to life is learning how to ask the right questions, right? Because the right question will lead to the right answer, and only the right answer will work, and only you know the answer that you're lacking. So sometimes, and actually, it may have been Einstein or someone wise once said, if I had like 5 minutes to solve the world's problems or such, whatever it is, life and death problem, I'd spend the first 4 minutes and 34.5 minutes figuring out the right questions to answer, the right problems to solve, the right solutions to bring forth. These ideas I'm suggesting, it's really, really simple concepts that our mind will awkwardly create resistance to. It's, at least in my experience, what I've heard and what I've witnessed in others. The design of our mind and our body is so fabulous. It's so amazing. Holy cows, we got it. We don't got to do anything. But I tell you what, your life will drastically improve when you stop taking things for granted. That might be a totally different topic to get into, but taking things for granted. Admittedly, here's a life experience. Please learn from me. I'm humbly sharing my foolishness. I took a lot of things for granted in my life, in my past, particularly the support and the care of others who were actually there. I didn't appreciate what I had. And there's so much truth in that saying, you don't know what you've got until it's gone. Well, it's when things are gone you discover who you are. And that, my friends, is irreplaceable. There's nothing I would change. I'd happily recommend, encourage. I don't know. I don't want to offer advice without understanding what I'm saying. Where my mind is taking me, though, the temptation to encourage, if you can, within your mind, right, emotionally, mentally prepare yourself to lose everyone you love, everything you care about, allow it to be gone from you spiritually, mentally, so that there's no more attachment. So if you can recognize how your life would be different without those who you love, right? You'll appreciate the time with them much more. So recognize that about life itself. At some time, we will transition. Everyone we know will depart this realm of consciousness and form. And then we go to wherever the next step is. But it's not something to be afraid of, but it is something to recognize. We live now. We live today, right now. So if, I don't know, maybe we won't be able to feel as good afterwards. Maybe it'll be a different way that we have to learn how to feel good, but we can feel good right now by being grateful for all that we have. by appreciating life in itself. The fact that we get to know life. I know life brings pains, it brings sufferings, it brings tragedies. It's also the opportunity to learn. It's also the opportunity to toughen up. It's also the opportunity to discover what we're made of. And I tell you what, if you want to believe you're trapped in this form, in this material world, where you're a prisoner without much hope, you're creating your own hell. And you're free to do it. I've done that. I'm suggesting don't do that. Listen to me. You don't have to love me. You don't have to trust me. Just listen and consider the words I'm saying. The key to life is through faith in God. But what is God? I've been wondering from my earthly perspective as a man at this time, where could God not be? I mean, the creator that is within and through and from around what it's beyond this realm that we are. It's not limited by space or time or form or many things. So the creator of the universe would not be limited by the limits that we would know. So if God could be all places, and in all places would be the entirety of God, the power of God, it's everywhere. This is what I've heard from others as well. Okay, so I'm not just, it makes sense. It makes sense if you move beyond the physical form and you really consider that all that is comes from a spirit, from an essence, from a form of being that is not form. So the spirit and the essence of life is what we are. We're not the labels of our skin. We're not the labels of the time or the titles or the diagnosis or all of that crap. We are the essence, the spirit of life. It's living us. It's living through us, with us. We imagine all of our resistances. We imagine our fears. We make our own lives pretty damn tough, pretty miserable sometimes, especially in patterns of confusion where people have assumed the identity of assholes. I mean, there's a lot of people who don't know who they are. Dude Guru, amen. Hey, I haven't been paying much attention. Blessings to all of you guys. I gotta come back to this. YouTube mayor. I'd be honored. And Dominic, blessings to you. Where was that comment? Taking things for granted is the ultimate arrogance. Amen. How much breath do we just diminish in our lives as nothing to even notice? That is true, but it's impossible to pay attention to all things all the time. But even if it doesn't receive our attention, can it be appreciated if it receives no attention? That's where my mind is wandering, Nude Guru. Can something be appreciated if it receives no attention? I'd suggest it gets forgotten. And that's what you're offering. We notice or we diminish so many moments of our lives. Learn the value of breath, and you will know how rich you truly are. I it's ancient wisdom, and it's just an obvious fact, right? Breath, the activity of breath connected to our life, the system that breathes us. Breath is so powerful. I heard long ago some of the old wisdom, the connection of breath and life. You master your breath, you master your life. You control your, and I took that to mean you control your breath, you control your life. And I notice it's true. Times of agitation, our breathing changes, right? It's more shallow, more intense. And it's all designed biologically perfect. It serves functions. The patterns of our breath connected to the chemicals within our bloodstream. It makes sense. I spent a lot of time trying to control my anger through my breath, right? Really paying attention to my breath, and I could not. I couldn't keep my focus on my breath. But what I found easier for myself was using my feelings, my emotions, using the feelings within myself, um, using that as like traffic signal, the alert mechanism. And as soon as I would bring awareness to my feelings, I'd bring my awareness back to my thoughts. What are you thinking? What's the thoughts driving your feeling? Um, but regardless of my success or not, my path, like I said, feelings is how I control my thoughts. My thoughts is how I master my feelings, and through those, my breath is more contained. If you can master your breath, you can master your life. There's many different breathing practices as well. I'm a huge fan of what Wim Hof teaches, his instructions. It's simple practice, and the way he explains the techniques, it helps bring your mental activity into the physical process so that you actually understand, you can kind of imagine what is happening within your body. I don't know if I brought him up. I brought up Wim. Oh, hey, look at that. I got Wim Hof right there. I'll drop the link for those who may not know. Um, he's got he's an amazing guy who has a bunch of world records and stuff. He's pushed his body, and he's also pushed his body in. He's pushed his body with the cold, endurance, even with um, pathogens injected into his bloodstream. The guy's the guy's amazing. He's subjected his body to science as well. He's allowed people to study him and his methods. So this Wim Hof guy, he, in my mind, is a hero of today. And he actually offers as well. There's free mini classes, so there's enough knowledge there for you to get started. And there's all sorts of trainers, instructors online too. But this guy, learning about people like Wim Hof, people who are really pushing not just records from the past. These people are alive today. He's one of many. There's so many amazing human beings alive right now, pushing the advances of science, pushing the advances, pushing the understandings, or growing and sharing knowledge about how our biology works, how our minds work, how our spirits work. Everything is all connected. And we are alive right now, brothers and sisters, where there's some amazing things being offered. And that's why, bringing up breath, I'm, like I said, a big fan of Wim Hof and his methods. So I encourage people check him out. Learning of people like that really inspired me to reevaluate myself, not in a way that was, punishing and shaming. Well, look, Jack, you haven't accomplished anything, which is okay. That's true. That's true. But I'm not gonna be miserable about it or make myself feel miserable because I'm seeing that others are amazing. Hell no. I want to become more amazing myself. So what can I do? Hey, Crystal, you got it. You shower and wash your hair in cold water. There's amazing things. Oh, beautiful. I bet Sarah, I saw something Sarah shared recently about twin flames. So if she's doing her guided meditation with yoga, fabulous. Daisy May, this is what I realized. The reminder, it's obvious, right? Maybe we could help our children understand these things a little better and the adults. Feelings are temporary. So are thoughts, ideas, and feelings. All things in the greater picture, all things are temporary. And our feelings, our ideas, what appears to be real is not always real. And even if sometimes our feelings are real or what seems to be real is real, sometimes even that doesn't matter, right? Sometimes our fears will creep up. Sometimes our sorrow, our anger, all of these things can, the unpleasant feelings, they can all creep in and they can consume us if we allow them. But here's the trick, right? Thoughts and feelings are temporary. That which is temporary, is it true? Is it real? It's all perspective. So I I've been reminding myself, here's another key to life. Golly geez, I'm just throwing them out today. What were the others? Gratitude. Oh, humility and gratitude. Those two go together. Now I distracted myself from the third key. It'll come back. The key is recognizing who we are. And who we are, we can limit ourselves in our minds by who we were, by what others told us we were, or we can humble ourselves to the truth. With God, all things are possible. Look at the world. It's true, right? The evidence of the Creator, God, the source of creation, it's in the creation. We are the creation. For those who found themselves to the Abrahamic, especially the Christian faith, the Bible, it's a story of the past. The past now includes us. So we're leading the past for the future. We're leading our past selves. We're leading the past traditions. We're leading our ancestors forward. Now, we can let the past and all that ever was, we can really let it hold us back. We can let it piss us off. We can get real righteous and angry, real indignant about all the injuries, all the injustices, all the unfairness that the world has shown. It's an option. The other option that I've been practicing and considering for myself is to recognize a different perspective of the here and now. See, it is through the determination, the perseverance of humans in the past, their ability to overcome and to survive. The ability of the humans of the past who were able to overcome and survive eventually brought to me to here and now. So I stand at peace in a state of completion with all of my ancestors who have brought me forth to this point. I stand at peace, unified with all of them, their wisdom, their sacrifices, imagined and real in my mind, I stand here by the grace of them and by the grace of the Creator. And the Creator, again, is that which is not limited by space and time. So I assume I'll have a different perspective of the Creator when I'm no longer limited by space and time, as my ancestors are no longer limited by space and time. Right? I don't know. I see God as the unknown. The unknown is the future. It's always there. It's always waiting to be sought, waiting to be known. And we know the future just by looking in the past, by looking at the present to see what the past has brought forth to now. But we shouldn't be afraid of the future. We shouldn't be holding on to the past, carrying around all these lifetimes of oppression and addiction and anger. We can set the burdens down, right? We're at a time here in life. I don't know. It's hard to know for sure because technically, all times are the same. There's really nothing new. It's all just different variations of that which was. But I trust and I believe that we alive today are a part of something amazing. Human history. How profound. It's a crazy tale. It's a lot of successes and tragedies, a lot of espionage, a lot of wars. But we get to play a part in it, big or small, whatever it is that, whatever it is we choose, the world allows, and God unfolds. That's where we are. So we're a part of something incredible at this time of the world. People are waking up in varying degrees, recognizing that they had been deceived. Okay. You don't know you're dreaming until you awaken. And when you awaken, you have a different perspective on the past experience you now remember. And that's what the awakening is recognizing that our past experience was not necessarily as it has seemed, right? Here's where I could use some support in scripture, because I know there's a lot of scripture talking about the end times, how people will have fallen, where good will appear evil, evil will appear as good, where men and women are divided, lusting for worldly affairs. It is here. It is now, right? I started down that road for a reason. What I've been learning is the way that Jesus was teaching. It's how we're all supposed to be, man. It's not that complicated. It's not that difficult. I mean, the miracles come from the Father. The devotion and the faith comes from us. We must be devoted and faithful to being truthful, honest, right? We're here to be honest witnesses, participating in God's creation, not placing ourselves up above others. Oh, look what I did. I did all this by me. Alrighty, bucko. um, we're here to be honest witnesses, co-creators in this process of life. It has evolved from nature here on earth into the human form, and the human form has evolved our life into what we know it. It's a technological marvel, to be honest, I think. I mean, if you think about our ancestors, if they saw the technology and the way we live today, bitching about some of the minor inconveniences we deal with. If our ancestors were here seeing what I wonder what they'd think. I know many of our ancestors would be saddened because I believe in times past before our modernized culture, um, I believe in times past, our ancestors were more in tune with Mother Nature. Had to be, right? You're out surviving in the elements or in a more primitive fashion. You've got to be more mindful of the climate and when you're more self-developed, self-reliant, less involved in an established, today we've got a worldwide logistics, communication, we've got transportation all around the world. So there was a time where our families likely were living it a bit more primitive, a bit more rough. Kind of like how I did when I was a kid. My life, man, my life has been such a fantastic adventure. Now that now that I've had some time to stop and breathe, detached from some of the stresses, some of the craziness, the relationships, all the obligations of other groups. I got to stop and detach away from all of that stuff in my life experience, and I got to breathe. And I want to remind you, it feels good. Feels good to stop in your patterns of chaos. It's okay. Give yourself permission to break away from the world. Allow yourself like a room in your house or wherever it is you feel comfortable as a child, right? With the heart of a child, the mind of a child. Go play by yourself, alone. Detach from the world to find time in peace, in joy, in comfort. Just being. I took here. I want to my blessings to all of you. Thank you. I haven't been paying a lot of attention to chat, but thank you. If I missed anything, please. Um, meditation, it doesn't have to be hard. It really is as simple as sitting and listening. But developing the practice to overcome our resistance to get up, to go wander, to go check the phone, to do all that. That's where the practice is helpful, right? You, each of us, meditation is something we all do. We may not realize when we're doing it, okay? This is what I realized myself. When I went to try and learn how, when I went into these meditation groups, and although I wasn't asking questions and people weren't really explaining, I didn't understand. And I felt like it was a waste of time to go sit in a group and be quiet. It was like, the fuck is this? I got other things to do, man. But when I realized that meditation is simply, I mean, it can, let me not, it can become very complex, and there's many different practices that I don't claim to know or understand. Okay. Don't let me minimize what is possible. But if you break it down, just the simple essence and definition of meditation, it is being at a state of peace with calm mind, tranquil, peaceful, the essence of not even being, but being. And so recognizing that for me, the practice of meditation, the goal was simply to have a silent mind, to have quiet within. One of the best ways to achieve that quiet, well, number one, if you know the goal, everything is easier, right? Once we know the goal as humans, once we know what we're trying to do, we can usually figure it out, especially with some lessons, some explanations. And so, even if my explanations are a little awkward, if you understand the goal of meditation, if you pay attention to when your mind is silent, when it is absent of thought, and recognize, that's what I want. That's how I want to be. And then see how long you can stay. You see how long the silence can last. See if you can grow the silence. And the silence can be as you're doing anything. This is what I was doing for myself. And when I realized the goal, actually, holy cows, you know what? One of the things that helped me was I'd been to the meditation studios and stuff and didn't really have anything really experiential. This guy's breathing technique, I tell you what, when I first did the breathing technique and I went silent, I knew that is the goal. The goal of meditation is to be with nothingness, with silence, with just peace. And so that's one of the practices that these breathing techniques, that's one of the benefits it does, is through the breath, you can clear the clutter of the mind. Through clearing the clutter of the mind, you can find peace within your being. And the whole point of having peace within your being is so you can know. You can know the goodness of being alive. You can know the blessing it is to be you when you're not caught up in the future tripping and past regrets, when you're not distracted and pulled in a million directions. If you can find peace being you, that's your goal. Because when we can find peace within ourselves, it is so much easier to offer peace to others. Just like when we're angry, it's real easy to offer angerness to others. When we're sad, real easy to offer sadness, right? Pay attention to what's within you, sincerely, because it's always changing. And that's where your whole life is lived. The whole experience of you is within you, your mind, your being. Now, your beingness is a part of the lives of others, right? Your children, your parents, your family, your friends. Your beingness is a part of theirs, but Even your beingness that is a part of them is within them, within their heart, their mind. Okay, so everything is all happening within each one of us. But really, what matters is what we share with each other. And I envision a world, brothers and sisters, I envision a world very soon where we all around the world, we understand presence and peace because it's what we practice, where we all practice being present, being peaceful with the joy and delight of life, because the gift of life has been given to us all. It's for us to share, to do with what we want. I heard it said recently, it makes sense too. You know, the creator creates this infinite universe, this path through the hallways, you know, the corridors of time. Each of us are taking our own path through the corridors of time. And as we come into this, you know, maybe the instructions are or are not given, but I think we come into this lifetime with the ability to go through life with the hand of the creator, or we can say, no, boss, no, God, I got this. I got this one. You stay out of this. I got it all. And then we can go through life all alone, thinking we're all alone. Our lives are here for us to choose, right? We were chosen to be at some point, from some perspective. We were chosen to be, and by the grace of God, through our choices, our determination, through the support, mercy, and maybe despite the will of others, we've made it. We've all made it through the past life that we have been living, and we made it to today. So, what is possible? What is possible? When I started wondering about possible, I mean, my mind, I used to have pretty narrow minded, not narrow minded. I didn't, I didn't believe a lot of things that I do that I think about today. I didn't consider a lot of things that I think about today. Today, when I think of possibilities, my mind is just unlimited. The possibilities I imagine are simply by my thoughts, not the creators. I don't believe there are limits. It depends on the context and the focus, of course. Beyond possibilities, though, what we actually rely on are probabilities. See, it's through logic, taking the infinite field of possibilities and through the mind of logic and reasoning, narrowing the field of information based upon relevance or applicability. That field of information is narrowed, and then from the infinite possibilities, we have more narrowed probabilities. But even probabilities are not always, you know, defined and limited. Sometimes even the probabilities can go beyond expectations back into the impossibles. But between probable is, well, from possible comes probable, and that's typically through what is practical. Not always. Practical and probable don't necessarily go together, but all of these come through logic. See, it's logic Logic, the power of logic and reasoning that all of us possess, combine that with other gifts like intuition, such. But where I was going with logic and reasoning are truly, I think, the foundations of thought. And we all possess logic and reasoning. We all we all experience the phenomena of thought. The logic and reasoning we use in this world, it's what runs the world. I mean, logic and reasoning, it's what keeps us alive, and it keeps everything functional, and it keeps everything in order. The problem on this logic and reasoning is knowing which variables to include or ignore, right? Just like in math, your math equations completely determined based upon the variables included in the calculations. So logic and reasoning has brought our world to the way it is, and many of us have been convinced through logic and reasoning to carry resent, or yes, to carry resent, to carry hate, to carry contempt, to carry all sorts of negative energies within us, okay? And brothers and sisters, what I'm suggesting, the alternative or the balance, what truly brings truth to light through the process of logic and reasoning, what reveals the truth in the highest light is love. Okay, so allow love to guide your logic and reasoning through your choices of today, through your inventory, right? If those maybe tuned in late, I recommended like practice of doing a personal inventory on yourself to gain greater clarity of who you might want to become, gaining clarity on what brings you more life. And I tell you what, if each of us start working on bringing ourselves more life, we'll share it. But the world we live in has conditioned selfishness. Selfishness follows logic and reasoning. Selfishness seldom includes love. And we are here to love. We're not here to be selfish. I mean, that's really genuinely, think about it. For those of Christian tradition, I know you know, I don't know if you understand. So in the story of the Christian tradition, so God comes in the form of man. It's a man who lives perfectly, commits no sin, harms no others, righteous in all ways, gracious in service and word, deeds, performs miracles for others. So God in its perfection comes in form of being a perfect man. In his beingness, perfection follows, healing follows, right? And wisdom is grown and shared. The choices that man made, Yeshua, Jesus, the choices he made in his time as God man, right? He wasn't selfish. He wasn't he wasn't glorifying himself or taking advantage of others, manipulating. To the very end, he chose. He chose to allow himself to be taken, to be punished, to be murdered. He chose to give it all for us, those who believe. And so it's God. If God is willing to give it all for us, which is what the message was showing, why why do you think fear is perpetrated in our media, and why do you think fear is so blatantly used for the purposes of control? Why do you think why do you think collectively we do that? I mean, if the source of all creation, the creator, the God who is, offers us this world and all that life can bring, and then brings us an example, a teacher, the one who people claim to worship today. So the God of love and light, the one who is most powerful in all things, all ways, has created us. We are a divine species. We've been confused. We've been misled. Many of us, many of us are carrying around unresolved sins, things that we've not admitted, things that we've not realized. It's up to each of us to cleanse ourselves of our impurities, to offer contrition, to offer repentance, to change our ways. I heard this definition recently, and I'm serious. If you realize you're a human, you're a person, right? Right? People, which we are, people overcomplicate things. Okay. And I'm not saying this in a way like reducing population. This isn't a Bill Gates speech again. um, People are people's greatest problems. So each of us cause ourselves most of our problems. And when we find problems, we offer more problems. We share a lot of problems. Here's speaking of the problems. Man who lives in a dream and doesn't realize it's a dream, so he takes the dream seriously, completely missing out on what is real. Praise God, Lou Bass. Is it possible that if you never had Daddy Paul in your life, Jack, that you would still be doing streams from your bathtub all alone? Jack Talcott, it's highly probable. I disagree. See, if you are of the perspective that that scenario is highly probable, that had it not been for the almighty Paul, that I'd be doing streams in my tub alone. You are so delusional, dude. So delusional. Hey, blessings. Thank you. Pleasure for you to join. Is it probable that YouTube is a platform used by billions and there's a lot of imagination about how we proliferate on an open platform? There is. Every one of us humans, we are, God, we are an interesting breed. Golly geez, humans. All of these thoughts are coming into my head right now about history and the just the way that mankind has been designed. Sincerely, praise God. These bodies are just amazing. The Trying to remember the words, the right words, the bioelectrical, chemical. I mean, just however we are. The design of life and nature, it is so amazing. It's so easy for us to take for granted, to cloud ourselves with this shield of arrogance, that says, hmm, I don't even want to get into it, what the ego says. Our minds lie to us with all these false stories. We jump to conclusions. We assume the worst. We're always dwelling on the problems. If it's not you, congratulations. But if it sounds like you, consider it's probable. That's what this world has taught us. The world has taught, the world has taught us wrong, man. I know you can all believe that. Let's see. Did I re-up Hall Pass on YouTube? Yes, we are on an ecosystem that allows for messages to be shared freely. I don't require, I did not require Paul's tutelage. And I don't require his permission. So I'm not sure where Lou was going. Lou's just he's being a LARP. He thinks he's playing life, but really he's playing his own game. What is this? Hey, both of these, yes, amen. The ego seeks someone to criticize. That's you get it. This is what I see the ego is, and that's what I'm talking about. The ego within us is that it's the cowardly, devilish part of us, the selfish part, the beastly part, lustful. It's the unhealthy part that seeks the negativity. But the spirit, man, ooh, baby, the spirit of us all. Life is simple for us humans if we let it. Amen. Arrogance likes to complicate the simple through the eyes of the ego. Let it go with humility and enjoy the simplicity at peace. New guru, wonderful wisdom, man. I'm loving what you bring. Lou typically gets sent to timeout. I don't know. He might even be blocked from the panel. I can't remember. I know that's not true, Hank. You don't ask permission. Although you are respectful in your ways, you're another interesting character. There's a lot of interesting characters that God has created and I've been allowed to meet. Particularly, especially now that I've been pushing myself more consistently here online. Lots of interesting characters alive at this time of the world. I'm not sure. I've got a lot of ideas on the best methods. What might be the best approach, the best method to communicate? I know the process. The process of communication is simply being present, mutually attentive. The thing about talking with humans, though, man, it's like herding cats. They're very, very, actually, no. I try not to overspeak. You know, if I'm just kind of making something up, I don't want to say it out, especially publicly, if it's not considered true. Where I was going is the spirit part of us. What I identify as a spirit it's the feelings that move us. Now there's good spirits there's spirits. There's pleasant spirits, there's unpleasant spirits regarding our own simple biological emotions. Here's another key to life. Maybe this was the key I was trying to think of earlier. The key to life is to change how you look at life. move from the material form-based look at life and look into the essence, to the spirit of life. So what is the spirit of life? What is the essence of life? What is life? The essence of life is an experience, and it's an experience of time. So become one with your experience of time. How are you one with your experience of time? You pay attention, right? You use your intention, your will, and you focus on being present. And if you're one with the experience, then you're not the body. You are all that the experience brings. So that means I am you, you are me. We are a shared moment together. And if I can keep that mindset, that I am one with this time, and this time where I am is what God is bringing forth. Because I get to choose what I do, I get to choose what I think, I get to choose where I go. I don't get to choose the results. And the results are everything outside of me. So just because I don't get to choose the results, and I may not always enjoy the results that are shown, doesn't mean I have to be unhappy. Doesn't mean I have to be afraid. What I realized is at every moment, every new moment, I get to think and believe whatever I want based on what is true. I mean, I do limit myself based on what is true. I've been ignoring some stuff here. I love my ego. We must critique anything and everything, keeping those opinions to ourselves. Keep them to yourself and be in peace. That's actually great advice. Um, what I found helpful for myself, though, in focusing on being one with the experience of being me in the moment. What I've found in life, it's pretty much an obvious thing for all of us. What I like or don't like really doesn't matter. Okay. Because what I like or don't like is irrelevant if it's not in my experience. And if it is in my experience, what I like or don't like is only relevant to me. So I also found that it's real easy to go from what I don't like into what I hate, right? And I don't like the feelings of hate anymore. So I've been backing off and trying to change my vocabulary, trying to find the right words that help me flow. So in focus of the experience, I clearly discern and identify what I enjoy and what I don't enjoy, right? Um, and that to me is the key, because I can tolerate what I don't enjoy. That's no problem. Been doing that for years. My ex-wife was one of those things I was able to enjoy, but not enjoy. um, Amen. Hey, yeah, the link is pinned if anyone does wish to join. All are weak. Whoops, that's Wim Hof again. All are welcome. Um, I'm comfortable just chilling today, to be honest, too, because I'm feeling good. I've been focusing on um, I've been focusing on allowing myself to accept allowing myself to feel good, even with much of my distrust, even with much of my pending concerns. Sorry. I want to see all the care and love you all have for Jack in 3 months. I want to see how and if anyone is willing to help Jack when he really needs it, not just use his platform. Mhm. Hey, here we go. Here's someone to join. Welcome, Aaron. How are you today, bro?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm only hopping up for a minute. I'm kind of in the middle of three things, listening and chatting and such. But working here at the house, and I just wanted to kind of ask you a thought because what you were just reading from Tarek. Actually, what's happening, Flo? How you feeling?
What's going on?
Was an interesting point of view, but it also kind of illuminated some of the issues here, which is that what do you think about this confusion of how people kind of have overlapped the interpersonal onto the show? And how do you think that there's a resolution to explain that you understand the divine lines, the divination between the two, and I just think that it's unfair for people to kind of put their own misunderstandings onto you. I just think that's very unfair, and I also would say that as someone who has spoken to you personally, it's very clear you understand and you have a very clear definition between the two. So anyways, man, I love your words. I got to get back to it, but Flo, hope you're having a good day, man. And Jack, thank you very much for all that you do.
Respect, Aaron. I genuinely appreciate that. I do see the line, and I think what Aaron was pointing out is there's a lot of people who come on here presenting characters and they play these roles. I was really thinking about Snafu, not to summon him by any means, but I was thinking about his patterns and his character, his role. I've talked to him, and he can have genuine conversations. He's a genuine person.
Kind of.
He just hides it well.
Okay.
How's your day?
I'm just gonna say okay because fine, pretty uneventful. Yeah, not really anything to report worth reporting.
That can be good and bad. No, it is good.
No, yes, it's mostly good. It's mostly by design. So I could have crammed stuff into it, and I decided not to.
Ah, that is good. I've been trying to motivate myself to cram more stuff in. And I've been feeling unmotivated. And I noticed I've been real judgmental about myself for a little bit. So
I normally overcram.
Do you?
Yeah.
I used to. Then I stopped caring as much.
I don't know that I think that's a good thing. I mean, it is a good thing, and it's also not a good thing. There's a
exactly
like
there's a
fun. Things should be fun.
Yes, things should be fun. Things can be fun, especially when you know what you're doing.
Or when
but who knows what they're doing?
Or not, as long as failing or losing at something isn't gonna be detrimental to you, or as long as it's not going to present an actual problem. Like, I'm not a good welder. I haven't ever learned to weld, but I bought a flux welder, and I'm welding together. I was looking at a trailer. I've got a trailer. It's just a flatbed, but I'm working on welding on some railing. And if it fails, who gives a shit? It's a trailer, I'll just knock them back off.
Right.
That's sort of thing.
Well, that's good. Learning and growing in different skills. I never learned welding, unfortunately. never learned a lot of the handyman
But what I
skill.
can do is I can talk to chicks.
You know what? I know I could do that too, and I've
Oh, you do just fine. There's a
yeah.
lot of incel energy around these YouTube streets. It's amazing how many people's reaction to Lindsay is that's not even a real person. Like hot chicks don't exist.
I you know, I can only imagine what that's like, but I can imagine it, and people do. People treat. I know I used to. I was intimidated by hot chicks. I was such a coward. I was so confused. The funny thing is I know I've intimidated some hot chicks as well, though.
That was mostly a jab at Paul.
No.
No, mine was.
Oh, yes.
I don't and butthole winker. At this moment, I don't have a lot to say. Really, it's it's to be expected and dismissed.
Right. I actually haven't talked to Paulie in a little bit. I thought I saw him down in the chat. Um, I haven't, yeah, life is interesting. Life is bizarre. It brings all of these different characters out. And how about you, Flo? You're actually a good guy to get into this question with. I mean, it's a very broad question and it could go a lot of ways, but you seem like you do limit yourself with logic, reasoning. You're very is pragmatic. Is that the right word?
It's one that gets used a lot.
Well, it seems appropriate. But the idea of how do you know what is possible or what is not?
I start to do things in a direction. I don't plan a lot. I just sort of figure things out while I do them. So I could probably plan a little more. But so if I apply that question to like your sort of possibilities, your possibilities are just way bigger than mine are. Um
So
I
far.
think I think that I limit myself to I would limit myself to things that have demonstrated even the possibility of happening in the past.
Okay, so you limit yourself based on things that have demonstrated the possibility
That
of
or that have been
okay,
demonstrable and not just conceptual.
gotcha.
For instance, I think that people inherently have selfish component. You know, we have the shadow side, and I don't think it's a bad thing personally. And I don't want a world in which we don't, in which people aren't fucked up and shitty and grimy. Because who knows what else would go away with that. It might be what gives life flavor.
It could be. I've actually, you know what you're saying is the fear I used to have. One of the reasons I never turned to God was because honestly, I was having fun. Booze and booze and hookers and porn and gambling.
It's fine. It wasn't nothing wrong. If you were enjoying it, then go for it.
Well, I thought I was. I thought I
Well, we
was.
get older.
Yeah.
I was having a ton of fun doing all that stuff, and then I got older, and you know,
Well, this is where I'm saying the other side it can have surprising good results, becoming more pure if more and more people were just healed, right? No more baggage and they were just genuine, authentic, enjoying life. Dude, we would I think our levels of good would just tremendously keep growing, keep rising.
Sorry, I didn't follow that. I was distracted by the new record level of simping that Tarek was doing in the chat.
I didn't notice.
Oh man.
A queen of light, a good human being or a king does not control the queen or dim her light. To the contrary, no boundaries should always be present.
That's a tall pedestal that he's got there.
Well, I could agree. I mean, I could agree.
It's just just the
context.
I don't even know that it's wrong. It's just that it's there.
It's the intention. What is your point, right? What are you saying? Is he alleging?
Well, and I assumed that he was responding to me because I kind of prodded him when I first came in. Because Lindsay had left a comment that said, "I'm calm," or "I feel calm now," and I think she left it before I got here. But I said, "Is it because I'm here?" And does it make Tarek? Does it make you? How does it make Tarek feel, or does it make Tarek jealous or something? So
you gave him a little.
But that sort of response is just like, whoa.
Tarek is an interesting man with a lot of opinions. I'm just saying, it's just my opinion, right?
Yeah, that's one of those. That's one of those. No liability.
Right. In other words, I'm saying things that I probably shouldn't say. I'm saying things that may have no relevance.
Right. Yeah, you can always fall back on that. Actually, you can't really. He hasn't done it at me or around me in a minute, but if he does, I mean, it just won't fly. It's the same way for everything that comes out of everybody's mouth ever is from their perspective. It can't be otherwise. So that's really not an excuse, but.
Dude, okay, this topic, everything that comes out of us is from our perspective. You've witnessed, you've been a part. How much are people arguing their lives away over different points of view that really things that have little to no relevance to? I don't know.
It's kind of hard to tell when something's misunderstanding because of the limits of language and when something's not. It's a fundamental worldview difference.
That's a good point. Flo,
I would say it's about 50-50 on it. And sometimes it's both. Like, I think that when we talk about economics, you and I have both a language disagreement and a worldview disagreement.
And yet I don't think we have as many disagreements that are relevant, especially. Hey, we got another guest. Desperate for validation. Welcome to the club. I'm sure that's what the intention is. What were we talking?
Disagreements.
Oh, yeah. Hey, seriously, Flo, I think you and I have fewer disagreements than we think. I know you still hold some doubts and disbeliefs that I haven't been able to overcome yet. But I know what I'm saying.
So this is a good example of where I would need to figure it out by doing it. I don't think that I can believe in that in your economic system unless I see it in action, because it's been tried a whole bunch in the past and it's always gone poorly.
Different variations, different ideas,
different degrees of poor. Yes. Yeah,
and different degrees of poor as well.
But I mean, I'm suspicious of things that appeal to either righteous indignation or laziness, and I think that socialism appeals to the laziness and actually righteous indignation as well, to get there, but in a lesser degree. And I haven't really heard you do much of that. A little bit, but not much.
I think I've got a different view on socialism than you. I mean, and I don't.
All socialists think that.
But, well, probably. Actually, that would make sense, especially with the profitable capitalist propaganda that's been generational here in America. I mean, there's still leftover lingerings of the Red Scare, the commie accusations against anyone who's really organizing to try and betterment a social group. And the propaganda against communism and socialism has directly related to the oppression of workers' rights here in America. But
You think that they're treated better under communism?
I I did not make that claim, but what
Well,
I
it's the only logical. I mean, it is a direct logical continuation of what you just said. The
yes and no.
propaganda
I mean,
against socialism has.
Hey, agreed. I mean, I know stories of workplace conditions in communist China today, and
Where they
right,
have nets under the building
right,
so you can't commit suicide. Yeah.
yeah, exactly, right. So that's not the argument I'm making. What I'm saying is within the confines and within the value systems of America, even in America, the fear of communism has been used to oppress workers. And I don't here if we're free and equal in America, right? That really means freedom to speak and to choose. That's really the freedom and equality we've got. But a man or a woman goes to a job, they're not free to speak about how they share their labor, not in every case.
What do you mean?
What I mean is because of the corporate structure, employers have exponential rights over their fellow citizens, right? And employees aren't able to speak. Employees can be fired in many cases for speaking up against unsafe work conditions, against harassment, about whatever. Employees can be set free. It's systems of oppression. And my point was that I think advancements could have been made, could still be made in bringing equality into the workplace.
I think that equality. What do you mean equality? Do you mean equality of outcome? Do you mean equity?
I drifted to that chat. Equality of, not equality of outcome. No. But within a workplace, if there was a fair and equitable exchange of knowledge, this is where the unions actually do have a great place to be. They represent the workers from the workers' perspective at the decision making table. That's the benefit the union really can bring and should bring. If
I don't. I mean, I do respect your opinion here, but I disagree. I mean, I don't know that I think it's always necessary. I think that if it's necessary, if an individual worker does not have any leverage to represent themselves against an employer, right? Like they don't have alternatives that they could go to or something else. If the employer's not working to keep the employees, we have a monopoly or something going on here. And I don't and that's the issue that I would see. I think that that is the case with post office, kind of, for instance, but that makes sense.
well, there's a monopoly in there's not a monopoly, but there's too much. I don't know if you want to entertain this from Hank Flo.
It's your stream. I'll answer it, but I don't have any. I mean, I don't want to take over if you're not interested. I am going to go live later, so if it's your call, you've got the $5. If you want to do it, we can. If not, he can send me $5 later.
You know what? We'll take it later.
Yeah.
That was an expert deflection. Points for that one.
Hey, whatever. Keeping peace. Sometimes you got to take some tactical play, make tactical plays, right?
Right, much like Slow State with his father. As long as you ignore accountability, there's total peace.
How's your relationship with your father going?
My relationship with myself is great. My relationship with him is not so great because his relationship with himself is terrible.
Sounds like a weird projection.
Not at all. I'm doing better than him in every way.
Well,
He said from the car.
said that.
Again, just because I did a broadcast in a car because I smoke rather than the hotel in the mountains is really no proof of anything. So if you want to get into the ego games, you're probably not going to win this competition, Slow State.
Well, that's the point. I mean, the ego games is what keeps you thinking you're better than your father. Quick.
No, I said I'm doing better. I didn't say I was better.
Understand.
Just like I'm doing better than you and Slow State. So you won't accept that, but that's the case. And, within there is some value for you if you let it.
Paul, I know you're so arrogant with all of these claims.
I know you guys just talk like you're experts on
you got authority or jurisdiction, but Paul, you're talking out your ass. And until you're willing to have an adult conversation about your claims, back and forth instead of this little childish toddler behavior you present.
Hey, what are you doing about that house that you're going to lose within 3 months? Can we get back to that economic accountability conversation?
Hey, Paul,
economic expert that calls me arrogant.
Go ahead, take a hike, you fucking loser.
Boy, that went sideways.
Loser. You got nothing to offer, Paulie boy. You're just a looping gorilla thinking you're entertaining. And here's what's funny. He comes in with an accusation at you and your father. I don't understand. I don't know your story, but
I gave him some great advice. I gave him some great advice that he really should take. He's because me and my father didn't speak for several years, and actually my mom came up with is that it started off with Christmas. She wanted her family together for Christmas again, and it had been years. And so she said, just come to Christmas and don't talk about anything. Just be civil to each other. You don't even really have to talk that much. Just be in a room without having to fight and dig up the past and deal with things that have happened. And that actually just sort of worked as a carrying forward. We obviously don't see the events the same way, and trying to wrestle the other one into position and submission as to the narrative it was just not going to happen. So Paul's trying to wrestle everybody around him into submission on narratives and storylines, and I suggested, and it was a totally good-natured, well-intentioned suggestion. It wasn't douchey like a lot of things that I do. But I still maintain that would be a great option for him, because
Flo, here, that advice, what you experienced, it's exactly what I'm offering, and I've suggested as well in relationships. If we care about the relationship, and we should, especially if it's family, if we care about the relationship, if we can focus on the future. As long as we focus on the future, we stay present with each other today, we can overcome whatever the past has brought. But I found it kind of interesting, Paul. I saw him really kind of fired up today because his father was in his chat, and he was just looping on anger and insults. So it's interesting.
I've noticed his dad just like the last day or two. I noticed that his dad is, I don't know, his I sort of question, Paul might have a little bit of reason to be mad at him.
Possibly. But this nonsense of I'm doing so much better, and since I'm better, he doesn't know, and blah, 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 blah. It's the same shit.
But
to me.
Right. The fact of the matter is you either have to decide if you want a relationship with your dad or you don't. Because, I don't know.
It's not that easy, though, right?
Huh?
It's not that easy though, right? Because sometimes even if you don't want a relationship with your dad, you want a relationship with your mom, right? You were saying that your mom talked you into having an amicable Christmas.
Right.
So if you wouldn't, you for the relationship with your mom took the step of going and putting up with your dad, right? So
Well,
it's
and
not.
there wasn't much putting up. We just had to stop. We were both so mentally locked in. You know, it's like two pit bulls are both grabbing onto the same whatever toy and won't let go. One of us, we both just needed to like break the lockjaw,
But
and
you
then
didn't do that for you, and you didn't do it for your dad. You did it for your mom, right? Ultimately.
I originally did it for my mom, correct? And then it it wasn't. It was easy to do after that. I just had to take the initial try. And actually, the initial try, it was actually a year delayed from when she first wanted it. I had said "fuck you" for another year. My ego's too big for that shit. That's really what it is.
All you had to do was be peaceful and present.
Right.
That's, I believe, sincerely, that's actually the key for all of us. We energetically create these interactions, these relationships. We energetically create these lives somehow. But the path to overcoming our chaos is to be present, to be strong, confident, and caring. To be present and compassionate. I think that's the key. And I've asked for opportunities to try and help mediate or help facilitate conversations between Paul and his dad. Those offers still remain, but these lives are short, and it frustrates me as a father trying to communicate with my son and then seeing that son just flat out no appreciation whatsoever that his father's right there.
I mean, we don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know anything about it, but we don't know the history there. What there may be. He may have real cause to not want his dad
Well,
there.
yeah.
okay,
I mean,
but here,
but
sorry,
he wants. Sorry, do you want to go ahead?
no, go.
I was gonna say he keeps trying to wrangle his dad into position on the narrative, and I don't know, if you don't want to have a relationship with your dad, then why even bother? So I got to assume he does. I made the suggestion because it's a strange thing to try to insult me on too, because our relationship
Right.
is basically better. Also, a broke economics expert while he's streaming from a car, and I'm sitting here with a paperweight that's worth $3,000 still. Like,
Well, let me see the paperweight. What is it?
It's
100 ounces of silver.
Oh, okay.
yeah. Hey, I want to come back to the idea of real reasons too. What we're seeing, it's egos, right? It's unhealed emotional trauma that's being played out and projected all over everybody. That's what I see Paul doing. But you brought up the idea maybe there's real reasons. Real reasons for what? For resentment? Real reasons for unforgiveness? Real reason to be hateful?
Mhm.
I mean, we can
I don't know, and nobody knows the answer to that really. But
we can logic can bring us reasons, and we can justify our arrogance and our rudeness, but it's not righteous. It's not right. We overcome our excuses. I'm sorry to keep going, Flo, but
no, carry on, or let somebody else talk, or Jeff, or quick, or
I heard y'all talk
Raggamuffin.
about ego games. That's why I hopped on. But I don't know Paul or the dad
Yeah.
issue at all.
I don't either. I came up for the capitalism talk, and then
Yeah.
it kind of
I was waiting
swapped
for that
all of a
to
sudden.
end. That's why I got excited.
All right. Well, here, since Paul's not, no reason to gossip. But I was trying to talk generically, and well, it wasn't generic. but the patterns of our arrogance and our unhealed issues, man, that's what this world is filled with. And we got to navigate through the nonsense to figure out what is real. We can come back to capitalism, though, because that's where do you land on that, Quick?
I don't. First off, I want to apologize. I have been on here before, and I came up a little hot, Jack. I'm not gonna lie. So I apologize. I am a good dude. So
Respect,
I
thank you.
don't think that the U.S. has been fully capitalistic for a long time, and we have very socialistic tendencies when you look at the public schools. Our roads aren't plowed by people we pay. We don't. I don't hire somebody to clear the snow off my road. The county does that through my taxes. That's socialistic. Police forces, firemen, all of that stuff is highly socialistic.
Yep.
And then there's other countries like Germany that's highly socialistic, but also have capitalistic tendencies as well. So there's
Democracy is socialism too, but
yeah, for sure. So there's a lot of it's hard to differentiate. Anyone who wants pure capitalism would go back to the days of like the oil barons and stuff where there's very, very few people that are air figures quote rich, and then the other people are working kids and women in huge buildings that are burning down because there's absolutely no control or regulation at all. So we don't live in it. We try to make a black and white socialistic and capitalistic narrative, but it's just that's not what we live in anymore. We haven't lived in that in years.
correct. I think personally, I think that we're closer to a fascist economic system than anything.
I've got
So
100%.
What is fascist about it? Like, how do we get there?
the merger of the government and the state is fascism. Or I'm sorry, the state and
Corporate.
private business.
Corporate.
And if you look at all the big, in order to succeed in almost any industry, big time, right? In order to become a big success, you have to have government clients and contracts, subsidies. The government basically chooses the winners in industry, except for very small operators.
And there's hundreds of examples of GE not paying any corporate taxes.
I mean, all of Elon Musk's businesses, every single one is primarily a government
extremely
subsidy
smart. He
play.
figured that out a long time ago.
Hey, hold on. Do I entertain this nonsense or just block him?
I don't know what you're asking us.
motivation for entertaining?
Oh,
What's
and
the
Paul, you're
motivation?
welcome to come up on my channel later if you get blocked.
I guess he either deleted or you blocked him.
No, it's still there.
I see.
Says none of you are going to change anything about yourselves or life on panel.
He doesn't know. There's no way he can know
Except
that.
your
What's the
failure and
temptation for
shut up.
entertaining them?
He's not being all the way real with himself.
No, he's lying. And he doesn't care that he's wrong. He
This
doesn't
is
care that
trolling.
he's
This is
lying.
baiting.
I know. And Paul is better than just being an ignorant troll. He could be, but he's created these habits and these patterns of just vomiting toxicity and arrogance on everything. Exaggeration.
So just let him on your show.
I keep hoping to reason with him, and I haven't seen him in a while, but you're right.
I don't know the guy. I just know the other trolls.
Yeah. Paul's he's better than a troll.
Trolls have their spot. I don't mind a good troll here and there.
So I'm told. Yeah, it's these low tier trolls, these unsophisticated, one note low tier trolls.
Well, the troll is that which is disruptive, right? And the disruption is what I call the agent of chaos. It's the Antichrist, that which wants to disrupt the truth from being shared. It wants to disrupt fun from being shared. It wants to disrupt the good things in life because the poor little ego needs some attention.
Do you think that England would have called the revolutionist colonies trolls? at one point? Do you think that Ben Franklin would have been considered a troll by
it would depend
King Henry?
It would depend certainly on perspective, but the evidence, I would suggest, is what would determine. And the evidence would be the fruit of what they are offering. If the colonists were just running around offering insults and disrespect,
throwing tea in rivers, for instance.
well, there was an intention and a purpose, allegedly.
But
right?
if you were King Henry, would you have considered that to be trolly? King George?
Probably.
Yeah. So
but I'm
sometimes
not sure
trolls, it depends on what side you're on, right?
Sure. But let's go back to context of the here and now and why we're discussing the trolls. And I think most of the trolls today, yeah, let's not compare them to the revolutionaries of honor.
I've been known to troll here or there, so
I think a lot of us have a little troll in us.
And I'm always on
I
the
have a
side
little
of the
gerbil
right.
in me.
I'm always on the side of right, or at least I think I am. You know what I mean?
Well,
We all think that.
That's the world's demise. We've got so many people thinking they're doing right and not really thinking things through. And I'm not saying that was you or your situation, but it's what I used to do this a lot. I mean, rush to judgment, rush to argument, rush to fight even. But there's wisdom in learning patience, learning how to stay curious. What's that?
That shit's boring.
I know. This is the downside. It appears boring. It appears like it would be a very boring life, not to try not to instigate chaos and enable conflicts. But it's not as boring as you would think. It's not as easy as you would think, because there's a lot of people that are going to bring you a lot of temptation to drop down to their levels and start throwing ad hominems back and forth. But this is our life. We get to grow, and growth, it's not always peaceful, but when we can make it peaceful, when we can allow it to be peaceful, I think we should.
Sometimes you make so much sense, honestly.
Well, yeah,
Thank you.
People don't watch NASCAR for the left-hand turns. You know what I mean? They watch NASCAR for the wreck,
for the chaos, right? Well, but keep that
Those races are too damn long.
Keep that idea in perspective as well. I mean, bread and circus. Keep the egos distracted with irrelevant entertainment, irrelevant arguments, irrelevant fears. As long as the egos are distracted, they're not focusing on solutions. We're not coming together to organize.
Yeah, it's true.
Irrelevant entertainment, like scripted national politics.
I think we're trying to come together and organize, but I think we have different visions of what that goal is. Like, I don't want to come together and organize for your vision, but if there's a common vision, we can all generally agree on. Maybe there's potential for coming together and organizing around something on a smaller scale.
But I don't think there's very many topics that we could all, just the 5 of us on panel, could all agree on. And if 5 of us can't agree, how are 500,000, how are 5 billion going to agree?
5 billion won't, but maybe 500 would, or 50. But like maybe let's put it to the test though, because I think we might get some broad set of values we agree on, like freedom, maybe personal freedom, community, dialogue, conversation, that the stuff I see happening on these panels that has potential to be constructive.
True.
I agree. And actually, I think the only thing that would prevent the 5 of us from coming to agreement would be our willingness. I mean, even if it's a topic where, well, there are topics where we're just not going to agree because we're not able to articulate or present the the gaps in information.
I was just gonna say some of it's just where we get our news from,
Yeah,
or where we our news biases.
Okay, which thank you. This is exactly the challenge that we are faced with, right? We're coming from so many different backgrounds, so many different meanings and beliefs that have been created through a lifetime of memory and investigation, right? So each of us have these different perspectives, but the key is to find commonality. Where is our agreement? And we are all here, right? As long as we can agree, we're all here, we're all present, we all care generally about the same things of freedom and life and love. When we can start at a place of agreement, if we can find a common goal for the future, that's where the great things will happen. Now, because of geography, we're kind of split apart. And what you were bringing up, Jeff, is something I've been trying to figure out. Because I know my big picture ideas, they're sure it's far fetched and a little unreasonable to believe that we can do that. But there are actionable things that can be shared that each of us can do. And this is where I've been trying to offer things like the practice of gratitude, the idea of having a peaceful mind, stuff like that. Because I know as we all feel better, feel more at peace within ourselves, when we're having fun, that's when our minds really wander too. And great ideas will sprout. And next thing you know, the whole world's going to be changed. Why? Just because people started to be more happy. Sounds crazy when I hear
no,
myself.
that part doesn't. I mostly agree with that.
Single
Thank
people have changed the course
I
of the
definitely
world.
the make it
Sure.
fun part.
Soul people have changed the world over and over again in our history. It's not unbelievable to say one person could change the world, or at
I
least
think,
the
I don't
thinking
even
of the
be any
world.
about us.
yes.
It's going to be harder today because of just the way information spreads so quickly and so falsely that yeah, it's going to be more difficult. But if people could change the world when birds were walking around singing songs about it, I don't know why it couldn't do it today.
Right? That's what I think. And I know that learning different ideas transforms lives. I'm an example. My experience through addiction and recovery, learning simple things that were actually very obvious. Having those simple things pointed out to me helped me start changing myself. And that's really what education is for. It's for us to grow. It's not just to retain the knowledge and pass a test. I mean, I know that's what our schools and systems have taught us, but this lifetime is our life to learn. And Bruce Lee had a great quote along those lines about learning your life. Learn from others, drop what doesn't serve you, and become all that you can, something along those lines. When I started learning after my addiction, I started learning as simple as that. Finding something I enjoyed learning gave me a renewed purpose of life. And here's the wonderful reminder: when we learn new things today, we'll have different perspectives. We'll think different thoughts tomorrow. And those different thoughts, those different perspectives, they can lead us to taking steps and totally transform our own life, right? Into one that's just, it's okay. Next thing you know, I don't know. Thoughts?
Yeah,
That was
no, I
a,
think
that was
you're
a lot
right.
of words.
I never have any thoughts. Just like white noise.
I
No,
have, I have a feeling that's true, though. You have that
I
effect on people.
I actually don't jabber in my own head at myself. I think that most people walk around at life just going na 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 na, and I don't do that. And I think that that's fantastic. It looks useless and tiring for people.
Yeah, me neither. I don't do that either. I don't have a monologue in my head. Now I will, like, if I have to talk to somebody about something big or I've got to give a speech or something, I'll talk to myself like through the speech or how I'm gonna, like, say I needed to talk to Jeff about something. I could see myself driving somewhere and like going over that speech or how I was gonna do it out loud. I think as long as you don't answer yourself, talking to yourself is fine.
See, and that's giving a speech is it would be exactly an example I'd use for the opposite. If I write a speech, it's not great. If I just shoot
Wing
from
it.
the hip, and if I just wing it, goes way better. As long as it's something that I know about, obviously. But
Me too. I need short notes to like prompt
Bro.
myself of where I needed what like the topics I needed to talk about, but then I just riff.
I'm monologue. I have entire dialogues. I have different characters and aspects that are always talking to each other.
I don't know
I
if
think
I used to
you're-
talk to the cat all the time too. That was very helpful.
I yell at the cat sometimes.
Provo might be
when you're
onto something.
when you're talking to the cat, Jeff, do you think it understands you?
You imagine it in your head, like you simulate its side of the conversation in your head. I mean, I know in real life it doesn't, but they do say that animals are very sensitive to emotion. Like they can read humans emotionally better than you. Like a cat knows what you're feeling even before you fully are aware
Cats
that you're
love
feeling
me.
it.
There's many actual documented stories of cats in nursing homes going to the beds of someone who's going to pass
Oh yeah,
away before
yeah.
they pass away.
I've heard. Yeah, I've heard that.
I still think all cats want to kill humans, though. It's just the way it is.
No, I'm telling you, it's the weirdest thing. Cats love me. Dogs are about like they're sort of hit or miss, you know, like there's nothing special one way or the other. Cats will find me. Anybody's cat will find me if I'm in the house. It's weird.
Because you're a sucker. They
He's
know
a
a sucker when they see one.
Because I'm a sucker for pussy.
There's something about the connection between our pets and animals. There's something about those animals, man. There's something about life. It's amazing. It
There is
really is.
life. I agree. It's,
It's very amazing if you think about all the different kinds of life that there is and just the differences. And I mean, just the differences in dogs. You could have 10 dogs in a room and they're just as much different as 10
Right.
people in a room.
Do you like dags?
Man, if dogs could talk, they would be,
So annoying.
oh my God.
I would hate that. I would hate that.
What you doing? What you doing? What you doing?
Dogs need too much attention as it is.
Where's my ball? Where's my ball?
You're home. You're home. You're home. What you eating?
I'm seeing a dog running around, pogos and pedos. Fucking snafu.
That
He's
dog
like,
needs to be. Well, we're not there yet, but
right. People are nuts. There's a lot of patterns, a lot of similarities to the human behavior and animal behavior, which makes sense because we are animal by nature. But
we're primates.
I think there's more rodent within people than primate.
That might be
we're kind of like raccoons.
Raccoons, maybe. I don't know if we're that smart.
I mean, they eat out of trash. We eat basically trash.
Right? Yeah. I learned a lot actually from my cats, conceptually. learning
Lessons.
Don't tell people that.
No, I want to hear. What,
Going back
what
to the
is
funny
your-
farm.
What are your lessons from a cat?
I learned how to live, right? I found
in a litter
myself
box.
all worked up about finances and shit stuff. And the cats, they're like, they don't give a shit. They don't let it bother them at all. And they're present. They're, one of them is real playful. It reminds me to have fun. And the other one is real, it's an attention whore. So it reminds me to be present. And they teach me how to live.
Yeah, but cats don't have like a plan for the future. They're just because they're
No,
gonna get
very
fed. They're
in the
gonna
moment.
yeah, they're in the moment. I get that. We all should live in the moment, but we all need to have a 5-year plan too. Unless we like being broke and poor,
Yes. But the plans, we can have comfort when we have our plans. Having a plan helps us have more mental, emotional comfort. But at the same time, the plans can consume us. We can just become consumed by the plan, losing sight of everything else. So I
I
try
know
to.
what I'd like to consume. Some pussy.
That's what my cats taught me too. No, that didn't sound right. No, they showed me life is about relaxing. Even when they get scared, they freak out. They chill out, right? They don't carry this stuff around forever.
Yeah, they emotionally regulate very well.
I carry stuff around in my ass.
That Tyler's pretty clever.
yeah, he's a clever one.
The body does carry around the memories of the past, and that is for sure. But we can escape it all. That's what I've been learning. We can escape the memories, we can escape the body.
Escape the body. I was hung up on escape the memories as it is, but escape the body. Talk to me about that. Like astral project.
I've not figured that out. I know there's others who do, but just imaginatively, mentally, consciously, escaping the body, going beyond this time, beyond this space, moving yourself and your experience through imagination.
That's what I was going to say. Is in imagination.
Yeah, I mean that's obvious. Read a book.
Okay, here's the other way too. I don't know what that was.
You went robot.
The other part is to move beyond the physical nature and just become the awareness. The awareness is not part of everything that's happening. The awareness is just observing it. And we are the awareness of ourselves, the awareness of our beingness.
We're also our bodies.
True. Yes. See, yes, and. Okay. Yes, we are the bodies and we are more, because the body is not the totality of who we are. If we think we're only the body, then we can feel real trapped, real confined, real controlled by everything else. But if we're just the experience, right? We're more than just the body. We're part of this experience. We're just the experience from the body's perspective. Does that make sense?
I'm working on it. I still can't get around, because you believe in something independent from the body, and I can't get around that. So I have to ground everything in the body. But the body is definitely part of an experience, or a larger experience. But the only part of that experience I can actually know or have access to is through the body.
If your body is broken, your ability to do things is broken. So you're pretty tied to your body.
Yeah. I'm also dissociated, so I have a hard time being in my body or feeling my body, but everything is still grounded in the body, nevertheless, and I include the brain as part of the body.
Yes.
Who
what
is
is
that?
that?
He's
The
trying to
body,
make it.
though,
Welcome, Tyler.
the body is simply our vessel, though. It's like the vehicle for the experience. It's the technology so that we can experience. And the entire universe, the entire experience is just what you said, Jeff. You're the focal point. You are the center of your universe, your experience. And it's all experienced within you through the mind, through the senses, through the memories. What it all comes down to, though, through the connection of time on this timeline of this moment right here and now, what all of us are, each of us can say, I am, right? I am. I am what? I am the awareness of Jack. I am the awareness of Jack's experience beyond this. So I am aware. And that's the key. I am aware of.
I am Jack,
that is
trunk and
all.
testicles. Ha ha ha.
I've wondered about that too. Never mind. I wonder a lot about the future, because this life, I never thought I would end up like on a spiritual or monastic path. But that's where I found myself. And so now I wonder, what's the future going to bring? Does this mean I'm never going to get laid again? What the hell?
Well, that's up to you, I guess.
Well, it's up to opportunities. That's what
Yeah.
life is. Life is entirely opportunities and choices.
Life is all about choices. I learned that at a young age.
It took me a long time to realize, but it's clear and obvious. Life it's a process. It's a system of cause and effect. And life truly it boils down to our choices. I never realized that. I used to blame others for my choices, blame others for my reactions. I used to blame a lot. And then I realized that's not healthy.
Right down to who you surrounded yourself with in, say, high school, junior high school. It changed the trajectory of your whole life. I mean, if you were to go back in time and change that group, what consequences would it have further down the line? If you if you would have
Exactly.
been in band instead of football, how different would you have been?
Everything. One life changes the trajectory in many ways. That's actually something
like if
I heard
you didn't
from.
get gang raped by the football team, where would you be right now? Ha 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 ha.
Who knows where it could be? The alignment of trajectory, though, that's something I heard from Tony Robbins regarding coaching. It's what the coach will do, just like in athletics. A slight adjustment on your swing can change your golf drive or your bat, change the trajectory and where you're aiming.
Yeah, and then you can swing both ways. Ha 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 ha.
I don't want to laugh, but
I
I
appreciate
guess he's
it.
better than I expected.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Actually, swinging both ways, being able to adapt. There's something about that skill, being able to adapt.
Expand your opportunities.
Yep.
Yeah, you double your opportunities.
I won't lie. There was a time where I was sexually frustrated and I was starting to wonder, should I do that? Open up my options? But
well, the chat's willing to hire you a hoe if you want one.
Are they? Fabulous.
Yeah. If it's legal.
I don't think it's legal.
Are you?
Dan.
are you doing things that give the opportunity to meet people?
Are you on the apps? Are
Jack?
you on the dating sites?
I have been, but I've stopped giving
I
them
don't know
any
how
attention.
successful those
Yeah,
would be. Do you go to
I don't have much
church?
luck with them either.
I
Do
go
you
to
go? Are you part
I
of
hear
like?
church is one of the best places to
Oh yeah,
meet
for
people.
sure.
that's what I've heard too, and I
Especially if you
know
want
I've
to fuck
been
boys. Ha
I know I've been to churches in the past and seen hot women. I know I've seen hot women all
Oh, I
around
used to
this
love church
town.
places.
I swear, since I found my self-confidence, I have not been seeing hot women. So I don't know if my standards changed or if there's really like I'm just where they're not.
I'm shocked, honestly. Everything that you've talked about. I mean, I haven't watched you for long, but since like New Year's, right? I'm
Yeah.
surprised that you care. I'm surprised that hot women are their physical look matters to you.
Yeah, of course it
I didn't know
matters.
how to say it. Like
Okay.
I'm trying to thread the needle. Like you
Fair enough.
seem open-minded and all this
Yeah.
stuff. So like for you to put
I'm jumping to
Of course,
superficial.
yeah,
Jack. No,
very,
that
very, very superficial
Keeps
on that.
and
talking
Jack
about
can't
who
have no trash woman.
Well, admittedly, I have seen very few women where I felt any urge or desire to go talk to them.
Sounds like
Um,
depression.
The feeling was mutual, I'm sure. Ha ha.
You know what?
Okay, that was funny.
I'm sure those feelings are protecting me from me and others.
So do you
Um,
not talk to do you see a woman as different than if there was three men and three women, like let's say at fellowship at the church, are you more likely to walk up to the man and talk to them than the women? Or are they all equal? Like you would talk to, is it different?
I don't know. It would depend. It would honestly depend on their attractiveness.
Very weird. So you
So
Um,
don't have a
if you saw an
conversation with
attractive
somebody
woman,
just
you
for
would
the
talk
sake
to
of
her.
conversation and then
well, come on, don't be like that. I mean, in the past, I was very superficial, and I objectified women. I talked about this earlier. I put beautiful women on a pedestal, and I got all nervous around them and stuff. But and my ex girlfriend, she that was one of her criticisms of me. I was constantly looking and constantly thinking about stepping out, but she asked me, why don't men just, what is wrong with men? They can't just see women as a person. And I never really understood it, but she was right. I wasn't seeing women as a person. I was seeing them as an opportunity for sex, an opportunity to feel good, whatever that means. But these days, no, man, my heart is pure. I don't allow my mind to start traveling into the dirty thoughts. I still get, I'm a man. I see attractive women and I have the ideas and urges, but I really, I guess the priority has kind of shifted for me.
Yeah.
I
Maybe
mean,
it's just because I'm old.
That sounds like depression to
YouTube's
me.
kind of a dating app. You should be able to find a woman on here fairly easily.
And a lot of them like to be objectified. So don't write that off.
That's true.
Especially with your own show, you should be getting all kinds of Do you have a Discord so girls can slip into your DMs?
I am
You
on
should take my
Discord.
course on how to get women. I'm really good at it. Ha ha ha.
I should.
He's growing on me a little bit. Annoyed at
So
first.
far,
but
I'm
he's-
up to one. Ha.
Hey, that's an accomplishment for some. I don't know. Life is peculiar. I honestly never thought my life would bring it to this point. I never thought I would have, I don't know. Life turns out the way different than we think it will.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
still stuck on how you can decide with everything I've heard you talk about, how you can decide if somebody's attractive or not without talking to them. I just don't get it. Like,
You can't find a chick attractive just by looking at her.
it's different though. Like, I could see someone who's physically attractive, but that's such a small part. Like, I don't want to have to hang out with somebody who's dumb or
Yeah.
doesn't.
We're
I'm the
not.
same way. Personality makes or break. They can
Way
make, it can
more
make or break
important.
anything.
Way more important.
Physical attraction is just a starting point, but
Right.
personality can totally
Right.
erase it.
I mean, yeah.
Because I don't think Jack's looking for a one night stand or a quick bang. I think he's looking for
No.
a partner, and you're using traits of a one night stand instead of a partner when you're trying to, at least
But
in what you said.
there's a chronology to it, right? Like you can only see the physical first, and then you can get to know them later. So focusing on personality traits first doesn't make sense. It's backwards.
Yeah, how
The
many
good
times, like,
news is,
in
Jack,
life
this is
have
a
you
really
met?
attractive panel, so you could get some of our overflow. Ha 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 ha.
I mean, how many times have you met someone that you didn't really think was maybe all that attractive, and then you got to know them and meet them and hang out with
Yeah.
them, and you're like, that's the true connection is made then a week later,
I mean,
not
it's
a moment
happened.
you
I mean,
saw.
people within a bandwidth, right? People can get more or less attractive, but
Oh,
you
yeah,
can't turn them
I
all the
like
way
Ninja
over.
Turtles and raccoons.
I mean, absolutely. I like, you know,
my last girlfriend was like that. She chose me. She picked me out, and the next thing I know, we were getting to know each other, and yeah, she's an amazing woman. And I don't want to appear like that. I mean, for whatever reason, the opportunities to talk to people, it's just I don't know. It's like
COVID
there's
has
so,
made everyone not want to be in contact
Yeah.
with each other.
yeah.
I mean, you can make the opportunities, but it's just how motivated are you? I'm in the same boat. Like I find it very easy to cope. There's an inertia after all these years. I don't know when your last relationship was, but there's a certain amount of
Dating women
inertia.
is so hard. I
It's
just
not
wish we
worth
could
the
date each
effort.
other, huh, guys? Ha ha ha.
I don't want to date y'all.
Yeah, I'd rather stay celibate than date you guys on the panel. No offense.
Voluntarily,
If that's my alternative,
a
is
Volcel.
yeah.
Like when you're grocery shopping, do you talk to the people around you, or
They
do you
don't
just
talk
like
in the grocery stores up
put
here.
your head down and walk?
Nobody
No, I
talks.
try to talk
I
to
do.
people,
I'm
but
annoying. I'll talk to anybody. I'll be like, "Hey, how's it going?" You know, if I was at Lowe's and they were like pushing wood or like lumber around, I'll be like, "Oh man, looks like a lot of work," you know. And then all of a
They
sudden,
I
would
when
think
try to
you're
wear
someone
funny.
makes eye
sunglasses
contact,
so people can't look into my eyes and see the depression and broken dreams. Ha ha ha.
yes. I talk to people when I have something to say, but to be honest, I've kind of shied away. Admittedly, I'm not as outgoing as I used to be because people are just fucking nuts. I've kind of given up on them.
it is. Oh my goodness, dude! All you do is talk. Like, you know, your first 20 minutes, you talked for what, like half an hour or an hour before you let
Yeah,
anyone up.
Yeah, but he
yeah.
didn't
I
say
don't buy it.
anything. Ha 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 ha.
I would think that you're the guy at the Lowe's following people around, telling them about their feelings and how they should meditate. And like people are like, "Hey, leave me alone. I don't know you."
No, enough people told me leave me alone. That
So you're more comfortable talking into a camera than you are to another person.
no, not at all. The other people just don't seem to want to give me chances to talk. So I say
Maybe they've
things
seen it.
that admittedly, I know how I am. I'm probably kind of tough to get to know because my positions, my perspectives kind of contradict a lot of the worldly ideas. And so
They
trying to
do.
get to know someone like that,
You
Takes
have
some-
sort of an abrupt first presentation, I think.
I don't
Like,
find that at
I mean-
all.
Not abrasive, just abrupt. It's like, hi, I'm Jack. I believe in crazy shit.
right. Yes.
But it also makes him a complex person, so there's a lot there to get to know. Like they're not going to get to know you just on a few days.
I'm not saying I
It's
don't like it. I'm saying that it's probably not helping him out.
You're absolutely right. I've noticed that. It's
It,
I thought it was
the right
confident.
woman's going to respond to his approach, like his natural approach.
Yeah.
So in a way, it serves as a filter too.
Yeah,
Maybe.
That's what I'm trusting, is that there's a woman out there somewhere she can tolerate my rudeness, my
needs to be
sharp
grounded.
edges.
But Jack, what if she's an 8? What if she's not a 9?
Oh, I don't care. That's great.
No, but you're never going to talk to her because you're the
That's
superficial
not
part of you.
true.
What if she's a he?
Well, so far it hasn't been that way, but no, you are misunderstanding what I offered. I mean, obviously there's got to be some sort of feeling and either an idea or an attraction.
What if
And
she's
I-
a
If
3?
somebody's tolerating him, he's going to be so excited.
Jack, what if she's a 3?
That's going to give
What
her
if
a
she
few
is-
points.
What if she is unattractive?
Yeah,
But you guys absolutely click and you have long, great conversations.
Just look at his face. No.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah,
No.
Jack.
What if
I'm not-
she's blind and deaf?
then I might have a chance. No, I've settled in my past relationships. I will not settle again.
Dig at the ex-wife, huh?
Oh, yeah.
So,
She helped me learn that lesson, not to settle.
Jack, on
Um,
a scale of 1 to 10, where do you think you're at?
Oh, looks wise and like as a catch, maybe a 6.
Superficial.
Maybe
A
a 6.
And
Maybe
and what are you
7.
looking for?
That's humble.
What are you looking for? Are you looking for a 5, a 6, a 7? What's the minimum?
No, I'm definitely shooting better than me. So
Someone breathing.
Sexual attraction matters. Otherwise,
yes,
you could just go
yes.
for a man that he's not
Well, what
sexually
I'm
attracted.
saying
Oh, hey, Craig. I reckon
is it fair for a
Hey,
6?
Jet.
Is it fair for a 6 to ask for an 8? I've got a buddy.
Yes.
I've got a buddy who's a 5 who goes out with 9s all the time. And I don't know why I'm objectifying women by calling them a number, but it's just where we're at. And I'm always like, what the fuck, dude? I don't understand. And he's just got that personality. He's
Maybe
funny. He's
the different digits. somewhere
there.
else.
Like the girls just love him. But that's not everybody. So I think maybe
But it
Maybe
could
you're
be a
pretty
lot more
stuck on-
people than it currently is.
Maybe to them he's a 9. Everyone has their own
That's true.
personal
Everyone
preferences.
sees things
Everyone
differently.
like looks are subjective, not objective.
Yeah.
Every girl's chasing that guy who looks like their daddy.
There's forces that work within our minds and our spirits for our attraction. There's forces that are really, there's a lot of variables involved. And
Called hormones.
well, right, there's all sorts of factors: hormones, the energies of the sun and the moon, your astrology sign, what you had for breakfast, what you ate last week. There's all sorts of things that affect how we are.
There's some people that like blonde girls. There's some people who like redheads. There's some people who like brown-haired girls. It's all, everybody's different.
Some people
So-
have low testosterone.
It takes all sorts, but that's what makes life so amazing. We are all so unique, and yet I really think for all of us, when we're authentic, I think there's another authentic part out there that's wanting to match up with us. I do
Two
believe.
things that plague my life over and over again, Jack: drywall and dry pussy.
They can't all be good. So do you go to things that interest you, like Comic Cons, or maybe not Comic Con, but you know what I mean, like cons or events of things that those people might be at, those people who share your interests?
Those are good questions. I used to, but I just kept. I go a lot of places and I fit in with a lot of different types of people, but it's not really my thing. I've tried like the barter fairs and I've tried permaculture events. I've gone to different um, spiritual stuff, different meditation stuff. I've gone.
Have you ever tried a Pride festival? Ha, ha, ha.
I have.
Oh, you have?
Well, I marched in the Pride Parade a few years ago.
Nothing.
I've tried a lot of the things where logically
Here's
it would
one.
make sense, but
Look, it's working.
Oh, so
It
you got
is.
one. We got one on the hook for you.
What the?
welcome, Lindz.
Game on.
Hi, thank you. Oh no, I'm.
Oh, that's my friend Lindsay. Hey, Lindsay.
Well, here I don't hold the patterns of my past to be indicative of what the future is going to bring, because I know for a fact I have been transforming myself. And looking back, honestly, you guys were talking, Flo, and someone mentioned not having the continual mind chatter. The last time I was in a relationship, I was constant mind chatter. I wasn't the same man I am today. So I look forward what healthy relationships might be like. Never actually experienced that.
I still think that you should ask Cynthia out, but
No. Well,
okay.
He said no.
There's no, it's not an attraction. She's a friend.
But that's how it starts.
Can men and women,
Right. The authenticity is off the chart.
can men and women be friends?
I believe they can. In the past, I did not, but I believe they can.
Yes, if the woman is ugly, sure.
No, no, as long as it's mutually understood, you know.
It's never mutually understood. I mean, maybe you and me are different. It's never mutually understood. I mean, I don't know. I mean, is it possible? Sure. Is it? There's always men are men. It is what it is.
Yeah,
I
there'd have
know.
to be zero sexual attraction.
Well,
But every time, oh, go ahead. Don't want to interrupt you.
no, it's fine. Go ahead.
It's great to be interrupted 20 times during your show, right? What was I going to say? I don't remember, so go ahead, because I was laughing at something.
It's all right if it comes back.
I mean, if it's my best friend's girlfriend or wife or whatever, I have no attraction to them. But I can't
Bullshit.
pretend
bullshit.
that if they broke up,
Just because they're out of bounds doesn't mean you're not attracted to them. That's a lie. That's a lie you tell your friends.
that is
Ew,
Keep
you guys are
repressing that
so
shadow, and the
civilized.
attraction is going to get bigger and bigger.
that is true. That's what I'm saying. Is as soon as they're broke up and now you run into them somewhere, it's different. You know what I mean?
Okay, here I think something that's being mixed. There's a distinction between attraction and appreciation. We can appreciate, and let me be honest too, regarding the other question of can men and women be friends. In my past, no, because my mind is constantly wondering, can I, will I?
Nash.
Yes.
You're constantly assessing the situation to
Yes.
how, for sure.
That was in the past, but I've
Like
not
right
been
now, I'm trying to
tested
think
yet.
of what pickup line to use on Lindsay. I don't even know the girl.
Just send her some 20-year-old daughter. She'll be into it.
I think
Oh man,
believe
inside joke.
I believe we can appreciate each other. And here, this is where I've changed my mind to keep myself from going in the gutter. When I do, I don't see a lot of them, but when I do see a beautiful woman, I admire. I appreciate, good job taking care of that body. Good job caring for yourself.
So you're saying that if she said to you, "I'm down to fuck right now," you wouldn't?
Who is she?
This person you're describing.
In my mind? Sure.
Because
I'm
you're saying
always
it's not attraction, it's appreciation. But if she says she wanted to fuck right now, would you not?
It would depend. There's a lot of hey, no, I am an adult and a mature man at this point. There would be
And
a
you'd
lot
be
of
like, fuck yeah.
involved. No. The old me, not a question, absolutely.
Jam
But
donut rolling down the hill if you could keep in step.
Someone said the word bullshit, and that made me remember what I was going to say. I want to disagree with the opinion that women and men can't be friends. But I know men will press the boundary. But I also know women who press the boundary too when they get friend zoned. So I kind of call cap in a way that, via some kind of Darwinian law or something, men can't control themselves or they can't just be friends with women. But on the other hand, what are all the women's experiences here? What have they been? Can you just have a guy that you're friends with, or does he eventually become attracted and want more?
Real friends aren't just waiting for an opportunity to fuck. And that's all that is. When men and women are friends, there's just waiting for an opportunity there.
That's an emotional immaturity.
That's something.
I think
it's genetics. It's the way we're built for that. Like,
isn't that a cop out? That's what you've been told.
No,
that's what you've been told.
It's the way I'm gay, and I even know it's genetics.
It's just reality. I mean, look, I get girls can be friends with guys, and they can't understand us when that happens. Like it's just the way we are. I can't. I'm not saying I like it.
But look, it goes both ways. Chicks go after dudes too, especially when the ones in relationships. I swear to God, Jack, you want to break that dry spell? Put a ring on.
Yeah, that might help.
That is absolutely true. It is absolutely true.
It's because they're safe.
Yeah,
that's what my take on that is. They're safe and they're well. Never mind. I'm going to give too much away. But back to Generation X, Jeff. I wanted to ask you about that because I completely agree with you that homosexuality is not a learned thing. It's something that they haven't identified the gene, I don't think yet. I know they've played with genes in settings that indicate that you can make it was a fruit fly in this particular experience. They were able to manipulate genes, and all of a sudden he was gay. They were watching the actions, and it sounds so stupid.
What, did he dress nice or something? Like,
what a stupid experiment. Who played that?
Stereotype.
It's an experiment.
Was his house clean? Like, how did they know the fly was gay?
They observed the behavior. They took a bunch of.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Did he?
See, I knew this was going to be made fun of because it sounds really fishy. But they had a bunch of flies that they were studying in a small enclosed space, and they noticed that a certain percentage were gay.
How though? That's what I don't understand how. Like,
use your imagination.
They tried it with male flies instead of female flies. I'm guessing.
Exactly. Thank you.
But dogs try it with other male dogs. Like,
but
it's in nature too.
It'd be more about the avoidance of the female flies, like only going for the male flies.
Most of the gay people I know are like, they got hordes of girls around them. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not. I don't know.
That's the kind of guy you can actually be friends with.
Hell yeah,
Jack. You need to
That's
find
your
you
best
a gay
wingman. You
as
need
a
to find
wingman.
a good gay man with a lot of the girlfriends around, and then you just.
I'm pretty sure that's why Slow State's here. Ha 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 ha.
Oh boy. What do you think? You think it's nature, nurture? What's your take on that, Mr. Jack?
To be honest, it's something I don't understand very well.
He's going to say it's demons.
No, I don't believe it's demons. Each of us are on our own path, but
you know what you do, because you knew from the time probably that you were in kindergarten, first grade, who knows, that you had a natural attraction to girls, right? It just, you didn't think about it. It was just that way.
It was just that way, yeah.
So isn't that how a gay person is too?
Everyone I've met, everyone I've talked to, at least that's what they say, you know. I don't know. I've never been.
Well,
so I would assume though.
and admittedly, I haven't had many conversations with people about their sexual past in that regard.
Jeff, did you not to put you on the spot, you said it though, so I'm curious now. Did you always know you were gay, or did you?
I knew, but I didn't know. Like until I hit puberty, I didn't know what it was. And then when you hit puberty, the light bulb goes off, and you could look back and see that it was always there.
And you grew up in Gen X. You grew up in a different generation. It's easier now, I think, for.
I think it is. I mean, the young kids don't act like it is. They act like they're being oppressed. Every
Do you
time.
think you would have known earlier?
Nothing
if
like
you didn't
nothing
feel-
like they were. I mean, fuck, dude, being gay in my high school, you'd get your ass kicked. I mean, because
Yeah,
that's the way boys
I
were.
was the only gay person in my high. There was no other gay people around in my town.
No.
At least not that were out. So you
Years
definitely stood
later,
out. There was
they-
a lot of social stigma.
Years later, when you went to like a high school reunion or saw them around, are there more that ended up being gay when they?
Yeah, in fact, I went through the yearbook with my sister, and I pointed out I'm like, he's gay, he's gay, he's gay, and like years later, they all ended up coming out. Every
because
single
no one
person I
came out when
pointed
they
out.
were a kid. Yeah.
But you don't remember, Jeff, like a particular incident, even when you were little, before you even knew what sex was. You don't remember liking boys or girls?
Not sexually until puberty.
No, it's not sexual. It's just a crush or something. You know how the boys used to chase
There were guys. There were guys at my school, and they weren't even in my grade, but I'd see them on the playground or stuff, and I would want to be friends with them for some reason, and I thought that was weird. And I would ask myself, why do I want to be friends with this person? Like they're not even in my grade. I don't even know them. Why do I have this urge to be friends with them? And then looking back, like once I hit puberty, I could look back and say, "Oh, okay, now it all makes sense."
Yeah, and you don't even have
the impulse is there, but you don't know it as a sexual impulse until puberty happens, or I didn't.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, makes sense. Jack's got an important call.
Maybe it's the booty call he's waiting for. Our magic is working.
Just on the males and females being friends thing, I think real friendships is being able to relate to someone, and I don't think males and females relate very well as friends because we don't go through the same things, we don't experience the same struggles or anything. So it's like,
yes, we do. I'm arguing that yes, we do. We have the same universal feelings. We all know anger, rejection, happiness, being frustrated. We can relate
but we
to
do
emotions,
it in
humor.
completely different ways.
Yeah,
like if I have a problem, I don't go to a girl because she just wants to sit there and listen about it and do fuck all about it. I'll go to a guy because we'll sit there and we'll hash it out and try and solve the problem. Whereas a girl, if she has a problem, she'll come to me and cry and whinge to me for like 2 hours. And if I tell her the solution, I'm the worst person in the fucking world.
He's not wrong.
But you're overgeneralizing.
We're wired different.
Somewhat, but
we're wired different for sure.
I don't. Okay,
Well,
I'm just going
we
to be the
still
sole person
respect
here that
you
disagrees.
equally. How about that?
We're all mansplaining to her.
No, you don't need to explain. I understand, and it's happened to me
I'm
too.
saying we're mansplaining. We're like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Well, give her a chance to woman's point. I want to hear.
I just think it's a simple cop out, and I think men have just as much self control as women do. We either choose to use it or we don't, and I think men don't have to have the. Socially speaking, men don't have to hold their sexuality behind and pretend like they aren't attracted to somebody and this and that. They can be a little bit so-called rude or crude or way out there, whereas women are kind of have to be silent about it because it's not okay, even though both men and women are sexual beings. But on the other hand, you can totally see someone as a friend. a guy friend that's really funny, that you enjoy his opinions, you enjoy the differences and the way he does things just as much as you do a woman that you spoke to.
Yeah, she might see him as a friend though, but I doubt he'll ever really
That's up to
value
the
her
guy.
as a friend. It's just
It's
a
actually-
friend. It's just needs that opportunity there, and he's on it.
Actually, she said something really deep. Like you made me rethink it. A guy, it's like if a key fits every lock, that's a great key. You know what I'm saying? So like if a guy is out, if his body counts 40, nobody bats an eye. If a girl's body count is 40, oh my God, she's
It's
she's
because
unstoppable.
They're
So
both
because
girls have to protect. They have to protect that body count.
yeah, that's just because females are the gatekeepers of sex. Like if for a woman to get sex,
they're
it's
the ones
easy.
that end up getting
For a
pregnant.
man to get sex, it takes like a skill set. It takes practice. It's like hunting. A deer that gets hunted by many men isn't a very good deer. A hunter that kills heaps of deer is a pretty good hunter.
That's yeah.
These
But
guys
you
are
think-
so old they should be worried about Social Security, not pussy.
Hey, I'm probably I'm 39.
You're getting up there.
Yeah, getting there.
I'll
Older
tell you
than
what,
me.
my mom is in her 60s and she's not dead at all. Trust me.
You know what? Life.
Wait, is your mom single?
Do you got
Yeah.
Facebook?
Oh, good. Is her name Cynthia? Is that what
Is she
you
a
were saying?
six? Is she a 6 or better?
I'm not even answering all these. No way. Not answering.
Jack's looking. We need a 6 or better.
Stop.
Jack's trying to be
Asking for a friend.
No. Life will happen organically.
So you
I know there's some mysteries out there. God's introduced me to some pretty amazing things and people. So
What do you mean organically? If you don't use the tools at your disposal, is that organically to you?
it's
Good
happened.
point.
It's happened before. Yes.
But have you heard that joke about how there was a flood and the guy's house was going underwater? Yeah, you've heard that joke. How God sent him like a boat, told people and he's like, well, "What else do you want from me?" Like you don't take the tools at your disposal. You're not really taking
right, but then
advantage.
if you're a
and
woman, it's
really
called
organic.
manipulation. And if you're a man, it's called nothing. Just being a man.
That was a very manipulative comment.
Thank you.
She's like a siren. She's making us all think her way now.
Oh, okay.
Well,
Succubus.
Anyway. Jack, excuse me.
Hey, what's up, Mars?
so the idea of not to simplify it, but the idea of getting laid, it was like a focus. It was a constant objective for me for a long time. And it's not
Now
so
you're
much
depressed.
anymore. No, now what I care most about is how I feel. And how I feel alone without someone else to validate, without the trophies or the notches.
Getting laid feels pretty good, Jack.
Pretty good.
Feels pretty good.
I remember that it did.
Do you self-care, Jack? Jack, do you practice self-care?
No,
Do you punch him out every now and again?
I gave that up too.
What?
now, yeah, that has me a little worried.
I
Well,
appreciate the
Well,
self-control.
you know what?
Is this in the name of devotion to God or is it in the name of devotion to self?
God gave you hands for a reason. We don't know why Jack does what he does.
no, well, I've looked into part of the spiritual path, and I understand there's a lot of logic and reasoning behind the retention. And I've been trying to use my mind and actually tried to experience the conversion of some of those energies into something more. But I haven't yet. But in the meantime, I keep my mind. I paid attention, and when I was watching porn, I would carry along, at least for the next few days, these thoughts. I'd see women, and that's where my mind would go. So as I absence myself from that, I have more pure
That
thought.
seems healthy though, or normal.
It's a distraction, because it's not my purpose. My purpose is on my goals. My goals are not those types of relationships.
I don't know. I think you should let the poison out every now and again, bro.
Well, I have faith in the future that the partner I meet will be as energetic as I am. Even in the past relationships I had, sexuality is a big part of my life, has been a big part of my life for most of my life.
Why would you cut off completely what God gave you? God made most people sexual beings. Some people are not. I forget what that's called.
Paul.
Asexual.
Right.
So, and that's okay too, but you just already admitted that you're not that way. So why cut off a very important foundational part of you that's good for you? Is it because you think you can't handle it, or you will use it?
I had to accept my life. I'm going through apparently a different transition, a different period in my life. And the opportunities, life is about opportunities and choices. You can't make the choice if you don't have the opportunities. And I've made the choice not to go that route alone.
No, it's perfectly fine. I'm just curious about it because I don't meet that many people who, besides the people that say they're asexual, I don't meet that many people who choose not to, who take that on the back burner and just kind of
Jack,
put
you're not saying
everything
it.
first.
Sorry, you're not saying it because you're embarrassed about doing it, right? It's you're actually not doing it.
I've stopped. Yeah. And like Lindsay was saying, I hadn't seen many people like that, but then I started seeing more who had. And so I thought, all right, others do that. Why not?
Mm-hmm.
And then I understood the benefits, and then I saw the benefits in myself and realized, it feels good, right? There is reward to it, but at the same time, it's a joy I'd rather share.
Jack, have you found that your grip strength and handshakes is lesser now than it was before?
No, dude, I spend hours every day massaging my muscles, not my genitalia.
Okay.
Isn't that?
Time to go.
Wouldn't you be surprised waking up today knowing you were going to have this actual conversation? Who would have guessed?
I realize going live, you never know what's going to join, but I've learned there's some good people here. And, these conversations, intimacy and private practices, everyone deals with this stuff. It's not always talked about, but
I'm so glad you told me, and well, all of us really, since this is out in the open, something that I'd always wondered, but I felt like I never really got the men I asked always said no. And the question was, once men look at porn a lot and are used to seeing a lot of naked women, and they're bending over and in this pose and that pose, do they see women overall, like just a woman bending over to get her groceries? Do they see her that way sexually? I remember asking my mom about that too as I was growing up, and she said, I don't think so. I don't think they see you that way. And I think that was cap. I think that was disingenuous, because I do think that if you bend over, men are going to look.
Absolutely. I don't think it has anything to do with watching porn. I mean, I think it's just we're wired that way. Or unless I'm different than everybody else. I'm just wired that way.
Me and Jack have elevated beyond that into the spiritual realm.
Well, Flo did turn me on to one of the resources.
Phrasing, man. I got to pause that.
You did turn me on to one of the resources that opened my mind to some of the consequences of porn. And I think porn does add to that, to the tendency to objectify.
It's the objectification. Yeah, I'll just drop the video. It's a really good video. I didn't think that porn addiction was a
sex
thing
life was porn
until I watched this video, and it goes through the brain chemistry of what it does, and it compares it against real drugs, right? Like, because I thought that's not a real addiction. I know what a real addiction is.
How long is the video?
It's probably 40 minutes, but you don't have to watch the whole thing.
I thought we were gonna watch it here. Okay, there's nothing we're watching here.
Oh yeah, no, I'm gonna drop
porn
it.
is a tool, and depending on how you use it, I think porn can be used responsibly and have positive benefits.
We're older. We were raised to have to get porn when we were kids.
Yeah, we had to go.
You had to execute like an Ocean's 11 plan.
Right.
Like I remember hatching plans with friends to distract people, like run the offense, sneak in, snatch a penthouse out from under my friend's dad's bed, get the fuck out. You know, there's a whole operation. Now there's and it's really kids. I think that would be most concerning to me. But
there was also real life happenings of finding porn in the woods.
Oh yeah,
that really did happen. It did. That's true.
The opposite, the paradox of trying to get access to it. It would appear in some of the most bizarre places.
And now you got to figure out how to get it the fuck home.
Where to hide it. Years ago on Howard Stern, they were talking about porn and making it makes people not last as long.
Oh.
Wow. I got to think that the phenomenon of cuckoldry is 100% to blame for porn's to blame for it.
I don't know if you can trace any fetish to one single cause, especially.
I've done no research, and I'm still going to make the claim.
Okay,
100% to blame for porn to blame for it. How could it be anything else?
That comment was funny.
Yeah.
I would really love to stay and talk about porn. I think the conversation's just getting into the territory that I come for, but I have to run. I will say that I am a porn user, and my whole sex life has been porn for over a decade, and it's definitely had beneficial effects for me. So I don't think it's the evil that people make it out to be. I think it's in the user, not necessarily the porn itself.
Yeah.
And with that, I'm going to wish everyone a good day.
Responsible porn.
Yeah. Which site would you go to?
Plus, I mean, we're grown adult, self-determination and all that.
It doesn't matter if you think it's a sin, though. I mean, that's kind of why I was asking Jack questions.
Well, that's the religious.
Well, here I'm just now dropping this link in the chat. You should snag that and take a look at it. You're old enough now that I don't think that it matters really.
Can you put it in the private chat so I can't click?
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll glance at it. Hey, Tarek.
And really, I mean, yeah, at your age, like my age, like I think it's more just sort of intellectual concern than like, Jeff, you're harming yourself. But if I had boys, I would be concerned there. I'm late for my own stream, so.
How are you?
Yep.
Take care, everyone. Jeff.
That's a premature evacuation.
It always is.
Jack.
See you, Flo.
Later.
Who left? Oh, Gen X. Jeff left. And Flo.
Oh, man.
That sucks, right?
Hey, welcome, Tarek.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Yes, that video that Flo dropped, though, if it is the same one, I think. Yes. John Doyle is who it is. How porn is destroying you and our country is the title. It's an interesting perspective, and porn is an interesting, I mean, it's not a new topic, but it's more prevalent today, I think, than in days past.
Yeah, the access really makes it more.
So So, Jack, do you agree that porn is destroying, like, a lot of people's maybe sexuality with others?
It's certainly it's certainly got its downsides, and I don't encourage or promote it like I used to.
What's porn have to do with masturbation, though? They're not necessarily one and the same.
No.
Well, yeah,
you masturbate when you're watching porn, don't you?
But you can masturbate without watching porn, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't watch porn to not masturbate, obviously, but I'm saying you don't need porn too. Right? Or do you?
It helps. Definitely helps.
Maybe it's that same old worn out saying that anything in an unbalanced, gratuitous amount is harmful.
Everything in moderation.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Like religion is good, but too much religion is bad, right?
Yeah, too much water will kill you.
Well, too much religion can be a downside. However, too much God, I don't know.
All of a sudden you have the Crusades again, right?
What's that?
All of a sudden you have the Crusades again.
Well, that would be the churches, yes. Now, here, realistically, in adult relationships, the porn, I've used it. It can bring some variety and inspiration into the relationship. But
so you're saying you watch it like game film?
Well, I think that's what some men do. And actually, yes, immature men watch porn like game film, trying to get strategies and ideas. And it's not always healthy, not always respectful, that's for sure.
But I got a question for you, Jack. Look, like just take the corporation, the porn corporation, right? In general, do you think the porn? Yeah, I'm gonna say. It's a tough question,
Jack,
but
he's doing it again. He's doing it again, Jack.
What's he doing?
I don't know.
They're blaming everyone and everything else other than the collective unconscious.
Where'd Tarek go?
I'm right here.
Tarek, be Tarek. What are you going to ask?
Oh no, I'm gonna ask the question. So we'll take the corporation, the porn corporation, right? You don't think they're involved in any children manipulation in any way, that they're getting some of these kids into the porn for money, and they're doing it in a slick way, money way, whatever you want to call it?
Right.
Drugs,
trafficking, whatever. Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, drugs, you name it. So when you watch them porn, it's a porn.
What are you going to do?
I can't do anything about it myself. I don't watch it.
So you're talking once again about something you have no control over, which is the first sign of failure in life.
What I'm saying is, I'm bringing awareness to it, because if everybody stops watching
You're not bringing awareness to it. And if you are bringing awareness to it, then we can't do anything about it. So you want to bring more awareness to shit we can't do anything about, instead of awareness to what we can do something about.
So do you assume we should watch porn?
No, the responsibility is on the parents.
I suppose that if we just reconciled the collective unconscious, we wouldn't be driven to these tools to express the fantasy that used to be our reality that we've lost touch with. We're a mammalian species, on some level. So, like, if we could just reconcile that animal aspect of self with that angelic spirit, we wouldn't need to go to these places to act out what we haven't reconciled.
Right.
I would agree with that.
It's coming to terms and coming to the truth of who we are. And we're not these beasts who are just controlled by urges, and we're not the beasts that, that really, I haven't met a lot of people who are sincere in their hearts about glorifying war and the violence associated with it. I know porn is, I took a big leap there from porn to war, but what was brought up there is the collective unconscious. And that truly is, that's the key. Bringing the unconscious to conscious, bringing the conscious to light, and overcoming the darkness, the sickness that keeps us divided and at wars with each other, lusting after each other. What's that?
Oh, you lost me. Like, you think you somehow equated porn to war, and I don't understand.
He said he took it. Oh, never mind. I'll shut up. I can explain it to you, but you can do that yourself.
It's related to the collective unconscious.
Let's just say that when Jack watches porn, his porn consists of a lot of sword fighting, if you get what I mean.
No. No.
I think
I love you, brother.
I love you too, man.
It was a slippery slope argument. It was a slippery slope. And I think that's why he took one example and made an extreme extrapolation out of it, because it's like saying I like cheesecake, but if I have one piece of cheesecake, I'm going to gorge myself with all kinds of sweets and become obese one day. You know, it was a step from A to Z.
I got you, yeah.
So by saying
I contend, Jack, if you had more slippery slopes at home, you'd be watching less porn.
Jeez.
I agree.
Yeah, if you were making an argument between oil and war, it would be more easy for me to understand, but I don't.
What I'm referring to is the primitive beastly behaviors that have been, well, it's just glorified here in this world.
I think just the opposite. I think that we're a lot less primitive and beastly than we were 20, 30 years ago. You're
just lying to yourselves and everyone else.
You put the generation that went to World War II against this generation in a war, and this generation will get their asses whooped.
Oh, right. You mean domesticated? Yeah, that's true.
Yes.
Primitive, more barbaric, more. The further back in time you go, the more barbaric we've been.
Okay. No. Yes and no. We were more primitive, certainly, but I think what was said, we've become domesticated. We've become soft. And so you're right. Today against the past, yeah, I think we'd get our asses handed to us.
Speak for yourself, Jack. I'm fully erect right now. Far from
That's what you need porn for, right? You said we would become soft.
Exactly. Here's the thing is, though, is today where we're at, this is absolute insanity. What the modern day world has become and what people are calling normal, this is not. No, there's nothing sane or normal or righteous or healthy about the current state of politics and economics, the agendas of some of these wealthy people. There's some issues, and I know this is a far step away from the porn, but porn and these. We talked earlier about the NASCAR, the bread and circuses, all of these entertainments that seek us, that lead us with temptation into temporary happiness, temporary satisfaction. It keeps us away from a life of growth and fulfillment, individually and collectively.
But that's not changed from it's just the media. The medium that we use is different, but it's always been. You can't say that 100 years ago that the economy and politics were better than it is today, or that there was a coliseum at one point where humans went to watch other people fight to the death. Mm-hmm. Is that worse or better than watching YouTube videos?
Look at the Depression era for another example to jump on what you're saying. Look at the Depression era and look at what they had to deal with compared to what we deal with. Neither one of them are so pleasant. Neither one of them are great. But I contend that we're always going to have these problems. Every era is going to have these problems where there's something, in the 1920s, they thought, oh my God, she's wearing this dress and it goes straight down, but our boobs are showing. That's blasphemous or whatever it is. It's always something. And I'm not saying that doesn't mean that today's world isn't a hot mess, because I think it is too. But I know that every generation says that the sky is falling, the sky is falling.
I couldn't agree with you more, Lindsay. I was actually getting ready to say that though we say the greatest generation went to World War II and fought, their parents thought they were worthless. Every generation's parents, the hippies of the 60s and 70s were worthless. Now they're the greatest in our society, right? And
Right.
imagine like back in the 20s when cars first started coming out, and a grandfather being like, those kids don't even know how to horse shoes anymore because they don't have to horse a shoe. So
Yeah,
why would they know how to horse a shoe or put a shoe on a horse if they don't have horses because they have cars now?
Right. When it comes to sexuality and nudity and the taboo, this is only seen as an imposition of culture and society. Tribes people don't do this neuroses. They don't go around convicting each other over too much skin showing. Far from it. They reconcile their supernatural beingness.
I think we're getting more and more to a point that showing more skin is going to be less and less taboo. The further we go, the less it is. There's like a big movement for free the nipple, that girls should be able to walk around with no shirt on. I'm all for it.
No, there is. Yeah.
I say, I'm all for it. I think that should happen today.
Yeah, you try it.
In a way, that's to use the term that we used before, kind of a slippery slope.
Right.
Of they're doing that in a sense to weaponize their sexuality.
No, for sure.
Wait a minute.
And folks wanna go, oh, we're all for it because they wanna satiate their, they wanna titillate themselves, right?
I want to see boobies. That's why I want it to happen.
Right. But again, and that's why I say it's weaponized. I know she's gonna jump in and go, wait. But I just proved it indirectly because they're only doing that to get control over beta males using their titties, and it's working great.
It works. The thing about titties are, once you've seen one, you want to see them all. That's just the way it is.
Well,
yeah, but the thing about inherent power and value dynamics, it seems, is not every man is meant to see them all. If that makes sense.
Well, and I mean, a body is a body. I mean, what you're talking about is, yes, the boundaries of today, they keep getting pushed in different ways. Sexuality is one way for sure, that the envelope is kind of pushed. But we got a mental problems, right? We got a world where everyone's running around confused. And until the confusion is healed.
Confused about what?
Well, people don't know who they are. Many people of today are walking around with unhealed psychological trauma. They're in a state of disassociation, constantly living in patterns of their mind between the past and the future, and they're living habits and patterns of reactions. People are literally out of their minds.
Weren't you that way just until recently?
I was.
5 minutes ago, to be exact.
No. I was that way. And then by grace, by practice, by whatever means, I've been learning how to find peace in me, and that's what I'm trying to share. This world we're living in is not right. All that matters, though, is the present, right now. And from right now, as long as we stay present, we stay open, we stay honest and authentic, from right now forward, well, we'll just take it a moment at a time.
But Jack, go on.
I think the world is great. I don't see the same thing you're seeing, I guess. I mean, do I see it on the news or something? Sure. Do people talk about it? Sure. I don't see that. I don't see a...
You don't see society degrading as a whole.
No more than if you went back 200 years ago and you would see society degrading as a whole. Again, there used to be a coliseum where you could go watch people die. People used to own people.
They still do, sir.
There's still
I'm sorry
people-
to interrupt you. They still do. And actually, just to go back on your comment on the calcium part, MMA right now is the same thing, literally. It's just they changed the dynamics where actually you're dying slowly.
That's
Like you're not dying right away, you're dying slowly.
Do you
I
not see
don't
sexual
agree with
content
that.
being pushed on children?
Yeah, I
Having
don't-
what?
I'm sorry.
You're not aware of like more sexual content being pushed on children at the moment compared to in the past? Like if you go on YouTube right now, you can find videos of people doing, in quote, yoga and all sorts of things in their bed, wearing like lycra with no underwear on, doing like all sexual poses in their bed.
How do
And
you
these aren't
stop
age
that?
not age restricted.
How do you stop it?
See,
You
this
set
is
regulations on it?
the constipation and neuroses. As if you go back to the beginning of time, men and women weren't fucking in a longhouse with children asleep 5 feet away. I mean, this is what comes with the unreconciliation of what we call the dark aspects and taboo aspects of self.
Yes, they were.
Yes, they were. What do you mean they were?
Right. Yeah,
He
they
was
totally
being
were. We
They
didn't get that
absolutely
enough.
were. They absolutely were.
I'm just
Probably
saying
that they
I'm
were.
just saying that
So-
this Western culture has turned sexuality into something bad and gross and negative and wrong.
Oh,
yeah.
No, I think it's the visibility of it. Like
If
YouTube,
you're not
every
trying to have
kid goes
sex
on
with
YouTube.
children actively, there's nothing necessarily wrong with children
no,
being
it's-
aware that adults make love to each other.
It's not
Well,
that.
they're age
Just-
appropriate.
just
And
Consider this real quick. This is unage restricted content that gets a lot of hits, and it's low bar content. And YouTube's basically saying
Right.
that
So
this
now
is not
YouTube's
sexualized
responsible
content.
for you not parenting your children. This is bizarre logic.
no,
Yeah.
Do you just
See,
not let you
Exactly where I was going to
on
go.
the
Like,
internet.
how do you stop it? What are
here,
you?
Nobody forces anyone to give their children a bunch of devices connected to a bunch of supposed deviants.
here's how we stop it. We collectively choose what we want. And I mean, this channel was brought up because I think, Quick, you were saying you're not seeing the demise, the decline, and it was brought up as how sexualization is directed at children. And I'd say it's beyond just that. It's in many of the animations, the cartoons.
True.
Sex is a part of our life, and it shouldn't be avoided or hid from kids. But the reality is, what's happening today is it's a degradation of the moral values of what the society. What are we willing to accept? How low are we going to drop our morals? And of course, the question is, what do we do about it? Well, if we think we can do nothing, we're going to do nothing.
So if we collectively decide against something, then we take away the freedom of the people who are like you're.
What
you're
are
saying
you
that
arguing? What are you arguing?
I'm saying that are you saying that you should put regulation on YouTube,
No,
on the porn industry?
not what I said.
No, I'm asking, how do you stop? You said you collectively decide.
we already do
Collectively-
that by enacting laws against child porn.
Collectively deciding to do something is setting regulation against that thing, right?
Okay. What is your point? What are you arguing?
that inherently freedom takes away. If you're saying that Disney can no longer make a movie with a gay person in it, and I know I'm going to an extreme, but if you're saying that Disney could no longer, because we as a society have decided that part of the sexual things badness that's going on is gay people, that now you're going to say Disney can't have a gay person in their thing. Regulate that.
Nobody's
That takes
saying
away
that.
the freedom of Disney.
Kind of strong.
Get him the hell out of here, Jack. He's imagining disagreements. I knew this was going to happen.
No, I'm not articulating it well. I'm saying that how do you,
We know.
without regulation,
We need to regulate retardation. That is the pandemic right now. Okay.
Are you
IQ test
overall
to do.
talking about censorship?
yeah, you're like basically censoring or whatever.
It's needed. I'd
Do
say
you
it's
think
needed.
nothing should be censored? Like censorship's important.
No, I am agreeing with Tyler that it's up to the parents to not If you don't want your kids to, my kids don't watch YouTube at all.
Then there
Yeah,
would
it's
still
called
be
personal responsibility, and nobody wants to like engage in that.
Well, let's also place some personal responsibility on the people that are distributing it. I mean, what Tarek brought up, the porn, and I know we're jumping back from just simply YouTube to porn, but a lot of that leads to human trafficking, child abuse, all sorts of sick stuff happening.
Right.
Absolutely.
Every tool that human beings use leads to that. It's like them saying Bitcoin is used by terrorists and drug dealers. Yeah, so is cash.
Right. Fair enough.
So everything human beings touch and use is going to be subject to the corruption of the few. But, you know, again, like the reason the internet kind of came about, as far as I can perceive from a universal perspective, is to expose all the harsh truths that we've lied to ourselves and each other about from the beginning. And it's done a great job of waking a lot of motherfuckers up to be here today having these conversations.
Yeah. And the
Red
next
number
step,
40. To your point, the quickest way to get your kids to watch YouTube is to tell them that they can't watch YouTube. I get that.
Yeah, but without age restrictions on those things, that's my problem. Like can we agree that not the majority, but a lot of parents are dog shit parents and probably shouldn't have ever been allowed to have children.
No, the dog shit parents tend to have more kids than responsible parents. Idiocracy is almost a documentary at this point.
So if we can't show these parents not to do the wrong thing, can't we make it so they can't do the wrong thing by allowing their kids to see shit like that on YouTube?
Again,
Yeah,
I
if you
agree
wanna
with
play
you.
God.
How do you do that? How do
Well,
you
you
age
just
restrict?
you don't allow sexual content on YouTube. It's not a fucking sexual content platform.
Now, who's going to be
Right.
the determiner of what's sexual and not with all these constipated, neurotic folks? When you just said a woman can't do yoga without being sexualized.
No,
There's a
it's not,
child
dude.
next
It's
to her.
not just trust me. Go watch the videos. It's not fucking yoga. It is not
crab.
yoga, dude.
Yeah, I think he mentioned something with her yoga pants split in half or something.
I get you,
It
but
wasn't quite regular yoga pants.
Where's the line? Is Lindsay's outfit in her avatar okay, or is that too much skin?
Oh, if
I
she
mean,
had her
again,
legs
this
up
is the
behind her
irony.
head.
You'll keep pushing for regulations, and they'll keep using them on people like me while that content stays on here.
In 1920, the avatar she has up right now would be taboo as a motherfucker.
Yeah, okay, that's 1920, but we're talking about what's
How
taboo
far back
right
do we
now.
go? We go back to 1950.
well, how about
Men
let's
and women have penises and vaginas, and they use them together. Get over it.
Yeah, I am over it. I just don't want my kids to be able to see this shit.
Right. So don't put them on YouTube or take personal responsibility. Stop making YouTube and Google and everyone else your daddy.
My kids are on YouTube Kids, and on age restricted content can get onto YouTube Kids.
Right. Why are they on YouTube at all?
Because he's autistic and he loves Minecraft and he figures out how to build things by watching
Right. There
tutorials.
you go. So you've labeled him autistic, which is like a
No,
label
the
going around
doctor's
for
labeled him
everyone
autistic.
nowadays.
The
I'm
kid,
not
the
saying
doctor's
he's
labeled
not. I'm
him
just
autistic.
saying that I've heard these narratives over and over again. Everyone's got ADHD now. Everyone's autistic. Everyone's disabled, and everyone's stuck to a screen
Yeah,
because they like
everyone
it.
thinks they are because
And
they fucking
everyone's
sit on
right where the
TikTok
fuck
too
their
long.
masters want them to be, and you want to ask them to do better for you and your child. It's fascinating.
If a kid can get on YouTube, they can type RedTube or Pornhub into the search bar and get on either one of those.
Yeah, this is
Yeah,
true.
all the
But
people saying
are they
The children absolutely need devices now, and therefore they have to be regulated.
okay, so
Now
what have
they're
we said
locked.
about slippery slopes? If kids are seeing this stuff on YouTube, doesn't that make them more likely to look for RedTube? Look for
No.
Pornhub?
They're gonna look no matter what. I mean, you were a kid once, right? Were you in the conversation about the operations to go in and steal the penthouse from underneath your buddy's dad's mattress? I mean,
Yeah,
they're
I
gonna find
laughed
it.
about that.
They're gonna find it.
Yeah, once you get to like 12 years old and start going through puberty
Okay.
and becoming
So-
aware of different aspects of self,
So because
gonna
they're
go
gonna
looking.
find it, we shouldn't try and limit access. That's like saying don't put speed
there's
limits
no
on roads.
we. You
No,
have your own
yeah.
children.
I'm
Just
saying-
regulate them.
I'm saying, how do we limit their access without taking away the freedoms of everybody else?
how about this?
I don't think you can.
Do you
This
just
is
end
right.
the internet? Just
This
give
is-
away with
this
the
is-
internet, right?
Okay, how about this? This is something that is just irrelevant. We're not going to find a solution right here. Let's move on. Okay.
Yeah.
because it's actually, in my opinion, a deflection from the greater problem. The greater problem is the morality compass, right? And you're right. Censorship, I don't believe, is the answer. Like Tyler said, the censorship keeps growing for whatever new fears pop up, but you know, it really attacks the real people is what happens. Censorship is used to protect the oppressors. Our laws, our criminal government corporate systems are designed to protect the oppressors. I think I know there's ways it can be changed. It's just a matter of getting the right people and the right ideas together. And we can change this world. I see the direction of the world, the advent of the technology and the communication. Honestly, even when I was raising my kid, I didn't see it as such a bad thing. I didn't even, really, as he was becoming a teen, he discovered the porn. I knew it. I didn't really was a big deal about it, but
All of a sudden, your Kleenex bill went through the roof.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, Jack, we can't hide children from the world. We have to build a bond and a trust with them and hope that they don't abuse or misuse their freedom and personal choice. And that only comes through conversation and understanding.
Yes. Otherwise,
That's very true.
You're going to oppress them until you let them go into college, and they're going to meet the world without any defense. It's going to be a terrible thing.
yeah.
You watch it happen over and over again.
Well,
I mean, even before college, it doesn't matter. Even if you take their phone or
College,
everything
high
away,
school, whatever. Right? Yeah.
yeah, it doesn't matter because they can still go through their friends' phone and see what they gotta see. So even if you try to censor that, they ain't gonna work either.
I guess I'm saying college because in my experience, when I was in college, I watched all these people that kids that were never allowed to go out, never allowed to watch stuff on TV. They weren't allowed to go to the dances. Now all of a sudden, they're 100 miles away from their mom and dad, living in a dorm, and they didn't know how to cope. And this
is here.
And then you got all the other people that did have all that stuff, and they were more able to cope with that situation.
Right. The solution really is parenting. It comes down to parents actually communicating with their kids realistically and age appropriately, but honestly about what the world is and what's out there. But we don't have a lot of parents actually having, mindful conversations with their kids when mom and dad are all stressed out about, the finances or the relationship, and mom and dad are so focused on their worries and their problems, they're not really developing the kid. And I'm saying this as a man who did that.
I understand that this is a straw man or whatever, but do you regulate parenting? Do you have to get a license to become a parent and take tests? And
what is the point of your arguments again? Sincerely, you're just creating arguments to argue.
Jack, I'm saying, how do we fix it?
I think we're finding out today that autism trait runs in the genes.
We can't fix it.
That's what I'm saying.
We fix it through education. We recognize that we are all of us are in this experience together. We stop creating all these divisions. We stop wasting our time with the blame, with the excuses, and we start really working on ourselves, with ourselves and our communities. And we say, hey, do we want a better world or not? Do we want a better life or not? And if we do, let's do something about it.
But Jack, most people would agree with you, but they have different opinions. That's the problem. They don't agree because they've been brainwashed.
And that's great because we're all only responsible and accountable for ourselves and can't change anyone else anyway.
What is the self? That's the thing. The self is the experience. We are part of each other. We are part of all that is. We've been confused and taught to believe that we're so different. We can't work together. We can't even talk to each other. It's nonsense.
It's almost like you're saying it takes a village to raise a child.
In a way, it does.
Somebody else said that, and they got annihilated for it. Right? That's a terrible thing to say.
What do you mean annihilated?
Yeah, see, you're conflating
A
again. You're
liberal
doing
said
the,
it.
you're doing the
A
you're
liberal,
doing the
a
hello
liberal said that it
hello
takes a village to raise
hello
a child. And
hello. You're doing the conflation game. They were using feel-good language that may have some root in truth to manipulate and deceive people into state-sponsored communism and fascism, which is not the same communism that they want to purport to facilitate. Never is. So, again, it's a conflation. It does take a village or a community to raise children. Obviously,
Yep.
that's why the society is failing.
That's fucking stupid. It doesn't take a village. That's communistic, dude. It takes a mom and a dad.
I didn't. Again, we have the short side, clean on top, left brain. If I had to bet, worldly, toxic masculine slave who thinks that they know what I'm saying. Light up another cigarette and kill yourself trying to survive.
Back in the day, the village was your family.
Right. It's called community. The root word is commune. The
village was
word
never
is,
your
the
family,
word is
dude.
commune. The word is community. The word is commune. So
Fucking
true
communist.
communism, nothing we've ever seen other than the tribes, situations like that. It's just pure community, right? Co-creation, essentially without the competition and division.
so you're saying radio guy, you're saying that it doesn't take a community to raise a child?
No, it doesn't.
So your kid
Takes
go
a
to
mom
public
and a
school?
dad.
Yeah, you're
Did
out
your
of
kid
your
go to
mind.
public school? Did they
And then
play
he's
in,
going to
Well, can I
tell you that
explain
he's the
myself? Can I
shining
explain
example of
myself?
that.
did they play in any sports?
Me?
Did your kids play in any sports? Did you play in a
Can't you
sport
said
tell
as
I
a
how?
kid?
Can't you tell
Who
how
said I had
socialized
kids?
this guy is?
As a kid, did you play in a sport?
Yeah, I did.
Radio.
Played wrestling.
Did
There
your,
you go.
was your dad the coach?
No. Why would you say that?
So
What are you trying to get me on?
another guy from the community was the coach.
I've
And
been
then
up here 2 minutes and
State's
trying to
cousin
get me
by
on
any
some
chance?
shit, dude.
Another-
it
Chill
could
out.
be, yeah.
was another person from the
It's like
community.
they make him in a factory. He's chain smoking parliaments. He's douchey right off the bat. He's presumptuous and arrogant, and thinks he knows something while he's going to convict
Good.
himself and make a fool of himself. It's
Why,
amazing.
why don't you? Hey, I'm just getting into the conversation here. All right, you guys are talking a bunch of stupid bullshit.
Was your
Communism?
parent?
Hey,
Really?
everybody. Hey, let's settle down. I just got done.
Oh, God.
What?
Hey.
Nemesis.
Hey, Jack, I'll see you
can't even
later. It
hear
must
you.
be
Hey,
time
Tyler.
more than usual, all right?
I'm out. I can't do
You
Nemesis.
sound like Paul,
Yeah.
Tyler.
I'll see you later,
No, I want to
Jack.
talk to Jack though. Jack's the only one that seems to understand the conversation here. You guys are talking about like who said they had autistic kids, so the autistic kid had to be on the internet? Who the fuck said that?
What do you mean? He doesn't have to be on the internet.
Why?
He
Who
gets on
said that I have an
YouTube to-
autistic kid, so
Me,
I have to put him on the internet?
autistic kid.
We can
No, I
organize.
didn't say he had to
What
put
kind
me
of
on the
lazy
internet.
Boy,
coke
I
was that,
come here,
dude?
they
What kind
clear
of
out
bad
quick,
dad coke
Jack.
was that?
Why
I said
is
he
that?
likes.
Why does
What kind
the
of
people
bad
want to
dad
talk to
tip
me?
was that?
Why don't y'all want to talk to me or Jack?
Well,
What are
hold on,
y'all
Jack.
talking about?
Hold
Hey,
on.
what are y'all talking about?
Hold on.
If you aren't
Let's get
watching
the
the stream,
conversation a little more heated here.
What
Come on.
are y'all talking about?
why don't you shut up and wait and see what's
We're
being talked
talking
about?
about sexuality in society and how it's demoralizing everything.
Well,
Thank
actually,
you.
hold on, Nemesis. You showed up, brought chaos at the time. It seemed there was chaos, so the others chose to leave because they chose to leave.
Yeah, a little chaos is good. Jack, do you think that sexuality should remain an intimate act and that publicizing it is taking away that intimate joy that people feel when they have sex?
I have that opinion, but my opinion doesn't. I mean, what's true is true individually. And I think objectively, intimacy should be kept private, doesn't need to be broadcast, but I don't know the
It's not that
relevance.
it needs to be. That's not the question. Yeah, you're getting a little confused. So what I'm saying is, in society, we publicize sexuality. Women use their sexuality to, shatter the glass ceiling, as they say.
So do men.
And that takes away people's ability to enjoy sex intimately. It does come down to enjoying sex the
Okay.
proper way.
Okay.
In our
Yeah.
society, we no longer do that. We value sex as a public
Well,
practice. That's
I'd
why
say
our
that's
society is demoralized, because we no longer have intimate relationships.
all
It's
right.
all
That's
centralized. It's all publicized.
Let him answer. Let him answer.
sorry.
What?
It's one of many. You're one of many variables. You're right. Intimacy is one aspect, but
Oh, dude, you're talking like a academic slow. Come on.
Let him answer.
well, I'm not
Not
sure
answering.
what you're trying to prove here, Radio.
I'm summing up the whole conversation. I'm just saying the intimacy aspect of sexual relationships is what's lost when you publicize them.
Okay.
So how, if you want to fix the problem, how do you kind of convince people that they shouldn't be publicizing their sexuality?
You have posed the question twice. Now let Jack answer. This is the second time you posed it.
Yeah, and part of that was my doing. I'm not sure the relevance or where this question is coming from. I mean, what I'm suggesting is people wake the hell up and they start behaving more appropriately, more genuine, kind, authentic, respecting of others, recognizing
Right.
we are all
Specifically
one
to my point.
experience. And what is your
Specifically to my
point?
point.
I have no
The
idea
point
what his
is
point is.
sexuality in society is publicized and centralized. How do you decentralize that? How do you bring it back into the bedroom?
He just told you you have
And
to
not
start
the
with
TV
the
screen.
individual, and you have to let the light
He
shine through
said
you.
he said some cliche fucking Zen answer that didn't make any sense.
Well,
I would
Radio.
say,
Hey, Radio.
what?
Yeah, what words do you want me to say, dumbass?
There we go. That's the word I want you to say for sure. Finally, wake you up a little bit. Jesus, get some passion.
So
you
what
think-
answer do you want? You don't
Radio-
I
want
want you to
mine.
specifically say, okay, so let's talk about how can you get people to quit being so perverted in public? How do you remind people that it's not a good idea to do that?
Radio, do
Well,
you think
Not
that
by just
children
saying
should smoke?
individual love. Come on.
Radio, do you think that children should smoke?
It's a
Do you
fucking
think
dumb
that
question,
people,
dude.
young adults, do you think that
Well-
young adults should smoke?
If their parents allow them to, sure.
They're 19. They don't need their parents. Do you think it's
Oh,
okay for them to
God.
smoke? Would you
Wait,
promote them
19? You
smoking?
consider it 19 a kid?
Would you promote them smoking?
I'm not going to promote it, but I would allow them to do so. I would promote their free will and agency, and in order to do so, I'm not going to go around taking away people's freedoms. That's what you're asking me.
Okay.
Okay, Jack, it's been nice. You have a good stream, man. Enjoy talking to you.
Rude mud crap. Go stick a
Thank
screen
you, brother.
in front of your autistic kid because you're too annoyed by him.
Hey, Radio.
You don't even understand what I was saying, and that's okay. You don't
Yeah,
understand a lot of
dude.
things.
Yeah,
Fine with
dude. You said the internet was good
Mud
for your
crab.
kid because he's autistic.
How
Calm
did I say
down,
that?
guys. Hey,
Do you not
listen.
think-
Listen to Jack. Listen to Jack.
Radio, you're on the internet. Do you not think the internet's good?
I muted him for just a minute. I wanted to thank you, Mud Crab. Thank
Yeah,
everyone.
Mud Crab, thank you.
Yeah.
We've had
Yeah,
some
so
good
the internet
topics.
is good and bad. It's not a binary thing.
Wait
where
a
it's,
minute, radio. Wait a minute. Wait a minute, radio. Let Jack finish.
No, it's please, you jumped the gun there. Radio, I don't know what you're answering,
The
but go
internet
ahead.
is neither good nor bad. When you think in that binary default, then you're going to throw the baby out with the bathwater. The internet has very many good qualities and things that we can use in our society. However, with that comes a lot of abuse and corruption. So you got to weed out the abuse and corruption. It's not a good or bad thing. It's just how you use it that makes it good or bad. And letting your kids use it makes it bad.
I
I
don't
would
think he
say.
said that he gave his kid the device and walked away from it. I think the whole crux of what he was saying is
now you're
that
just
he
getting in there. You're getting caught up in details. The spirit of what he
I think
said
the whole
was that his kid's
spirit of
autistic
what
and he
he
puts the screen in
said-
front of his kid.
Hey,
That's
quick.
the spirit of what you wanted to hear, dude.
Yeah,
that's fine.
here's what I'm saying.
Okay,
Radio,
then rephrase what you
going-
said. All right,
Radio,
rephrase what
hey,
you said.
thanks for joining, Radio. I'm going to be ending the stream soon anyway, and you seem just intent on hearing yourself.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And you're asking questions, unwilling to listen or consider what's being said, and then you're interrupting as well, speaking over. So, Radio, God bless you, brother. Maybe on a different day we can have different conversations. I am feeling it's about that time now, guys.
He came
Yeah,
up
I feel
talking
that.
about communism and then started talking about wanting to regulate the internet. It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
Really railroading the show. I don't know why people do that.
And one of the points he was making is about what people should be doing in public and the degradation and stuff like that. But then, like, the internet's fine for kid. Like, be cohesive, dude.
While he's like smoking on screen when you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like, hey, if you isn't smoking a degradation, shouldn't you not be promoting that on stream? Sorry, Jack. We're making Jack go into meditation right now. Hey, Jack, just go ahead and go. Me and Rude got this. We'll shut it down. Just toss me the details and I'll shut her down when we're done.
No.
Quick question for Jack.
Yes.
You're super interesting, dude. Would you be interested in being interviewed on another stream at any time, any point?
Yes, please.
Awesome. Well, I'll get back in touch with you because I've got a mate who's got like 3,500 subs, and I think you're quite interesting, and I'll see what I can do.
Respect. I appreciate
Awesome.
it.
Thanks very much.
And thank you for joining. Please, I'm going to drop you guys out and do my
talk to you later, man.
final words.
Okay.
So
Enjoy your day or night.
Hey,
Bye.
God bless. Thank you all. Yes, please. I welcome. I'm hoping to find conversations, especially with other creators, especially if those creators may have interest in what it is I'm sharing. And here's another creator, a creator I admire.
Brother Talcott, can you hear me?
You're a little bit soft, but yes.
A little soft. Hey, that's pretty funny after the conversation you've been having earlier. Is that better? Am I coming in hard and clear?
Yep, hard and clear.
Hey, good. Hey, great show tonight, Jack. I think you got to keep Nemesis on a short leash. I came in, railroaded the conversation, ruined my good friend Radio Foreman's attempt at having a dialogue, which I think you went unsuccessfully, unfortunately. But, you know, I just like you to give him an open heart and another opportunity. He's honestly a bright mind, brilliant guy. And I understood his question quite clearly, right?
Okay.
And how do you make sexuality intimate again? Because when everything about you, let's say you have a partner, Jack, and they post everything about them online, their body, the acts they do behind the bedroom, there is no more intimacy, right? And I think that might have been his point, is like, how do you bring that back into our world where people are giving away the most personal and private things about themselves? But hey, great show, Jack. Love ya. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. Same time, same bad place. And God bless everybody else watching. Hit that like, smash the subscribe. See you soon.
Respect. Provo, thank you. And Radio, please, you are welcome back. I didn't mean any chaos or, sometimes on these panels, sometimes it is kind of timing, especially when it's my panel. There's a lot of variables involved in the success and outcome of our conversations, but please, you are welcome. The idea of that question, though, how do we bring intimacy back to private versus being the public domain? That is a greater question. I'll give it some thought. My initial response, though, is it's all the same. It all comes down to us individually. What are we going to do? What am I going to do to bring more intimacy into the private and away from the public? We individually, we can make these choices on our own. We can talk to our children, talk to our families, educate those around us regarding some of the things that can happen, right? Not to share fear, not to share concerns, but we can help coach each other, right? Morally. Hey, are you sure you really want to be sharing that? Are you sure you really want to be, gossiping about this? Are you sure that's really what you want for you? I think we can help each other because we've gotten to the place in this world the way that it is in the greater picture. In the greater picture, the world is the way that it is because chaos, the powers that be, have been enabled. Okay. The working class of America, the working class of the world, has literally, by their hands and their labor, their backs, the sweat, the working class has built the world we have today. And I've come from a long line of labor, right? People who work hard for a living, people who know the sweat that comes from and the good feeling that comes from a job well done at the end of the day of a hard day's work. I come from a long line of, as far as I know, I come from a line of laborers, not the bosses, but the people who got the stuff done. What we've got today is this world that billionaires have been enabled. People like Joe Biden and Donald Trump have been enabled with these positions of authority and influence, these positions of power. It's been enabled. Right now, today, the entire war that's going on, all the wars that are going on around the world, they are being enabled. Okay? What does it mean to enable? Well, what I found within myself, what I realized, we don't learn of everything, right? We only become aware of what we become aware of. But if we become aware of problems and we don't do anything to solve them, are we not enabling those problems to continue? Well, tonight and on most of the panels, we talk about a lot of problems, and this world has a lot of problems, and not every one of these problems is ours individually to solve. However, there is the power of community. There is the power and the strength of uniting. When mankind comes together with clarity of mind, purity of heart, individually, when we come together with clarity of mind, purity of heart, things can happen. Magic unfolds. And I trust and I believe that when people come together, we will find a way to end the corruption, end the oppression, end the censorship, end the immorality that has been so widely shared throughout our mainstream media and the world. I don't know. Brothers and sisters, sincerely, thank you. Thank you to all who have joined the panels, joined the chat, and who may just tune in at a later time. I hope you receive some value in exchange for your time. I hope you receive some joy, some encouragement, and maybe some ideas. What is possible? I truly believe and I trust. I know within myself peace is possible. It's here and now. I'm in peace in the here and now, and I invite you to join me in your here and now in a place of peace. And from a place of peace and a humble mind with grateful thoughts of appreciation, sincerely, I appreciate you. And with our appreciation, we can have a faith, we can have the belief, the imagined creation of a world that has no wars, it has no debts, it has a world of peace, prosperity, abundance for us all. Thank you again. I feel refreshed after a day off. Tomorrow I intend to be back. So watch for the notifications. Thank you again. Choose love, peace for everyone, and live without fear. God bless us all.